say that Kamala Harris's momentum has stalled, like as if she didn't have a second act, or it may just be that she went as far as she could. She had an incredible month. The media were just fawning over her. She was running on joy and vibes and all that. But now that we're getting down to one of these two people is going to be the next president, I just think if Kamala Harris can avoid having Trump, and this is difficult for any VP because you're not the ultimate decision maker, hang the what's now called the Harris-Biden record around her neck, then she will have done what she set out to do. But that's not so easy, because to anything she says, he can say, well, why haven't you accomplished that yet? Or how come you haven't done that? You've been vice president for 3.5 years. And I think the fact that she hasn't debated in 4 years and has just done the one interview may make her be a little bit rusty when it comes to the ultimate unscripted moments of a presidential debate.
Also, though, there are scripted, even though it's not scripted, they have rehearsed lines, right? I mean, I would expect, and you probably expect, that she's got a bunch of rehearsed lines ready to go.
Oh, every candidate does. And while Trump is making a big deal of saying he's not really prepping, I mean, they're calling it policy. They're reminding him of the things that he's accomplished during his presidency. And of course, this is going to be lines where everybody at home is going to say, well, obviously that was a one-liner that each candidate had prepared. But they don't know what questions are coming. There's a lot of pressure on ABC for that reason. Trump has been trashing ABC. One of my guests on Media Buzz says he's working the refs. That's what he's doing. Or it could just be that he's setting up a potential reason that he lost if he thinks the moderators, led by ABC anchor David Muir, are being unfair. And I think that will depend on the perceptions of the public as to who won and lost. I'm using air quotes here because it may just be kind of an even draw. But, I'm thinking, I don't think there's been as important a debate, other than the one you mentioned that knocked out Joe Biden, since 1980, when there was, again, only one single debate days before the election between President Jimmy Carter and Ronald Reagan. And Carter had all these facts and figures memorized, and he looked pretty tight. And toward the end, when he said something about Medicare, Ronald Reagan just gave that little shake of his head and said, there you go again.
And that's, you don't know how you're going to get that moment in. He might have planned that, but sometimes even if you plan it, you have to pull it off and make it look like it's not rehearsed, like it's something that you thought of, and that becomes a moment. Obviously, we don't know what the moments are going to be as we sit here and discuss this before the debate, but we do know that almost every debate has these moments where a candidate says something or misstates something, or it has a quote-unquote gaffe. Then there's all the fact-checking that goes on these days post-debate, especially with things that former President Trump says. Do you think he is more targeted for that than other candidates, fairly or unfairly?
Yes. Now, people who don't like the former president will say, well, he exaggerates a lot, he lies a lot. I mean, Trump, and I actually have talked to him about this, says things that he knows push the envelope too far. Like, I am the only person that can stop World War III. Kamala is elected, we'll be facing World War III.
Right.
And that if Kamala Harris wins this election, Israel will cease to exist. Well, that's obviously not true, but it's part of his whole shtick. I will make a prediction. I don't make many because it's on tape and I can look foolish. But I do think that if Kamala Harris can avoid having the Biden record hung around her neck, she'll probably do pretty well. But that is not easy. And they're both playing, and I'll make this other prediction, which is both candidates, their partisans, almost no matter what happens on that stage where the mics will be muted, they finally agreed on that. So she doesn't get I'm speaking now moment before president. Partisans on both sides will come out and say, my candidate just beat the hell out of the other candidate. That is pretty predictable in any debate election. That's why they have a spin room. But I think particularly in this one.
So we talked about the mics. Let's go through some of this other, the ground rules here. There will be no opening statement. And then they have 2 minutes to answer questions. There's a 1 minute follow-up and then 2 minutes for rebuttal. It seemed to go pretty smoothly in June. there weren't a lot of people afterwards complaining about the way the debate went and the moderators of the debate. They seemed to let the candidates go. Do you see that again?
I do think there'll be a lot of policy as a result. One of the hopes of the Harris camp is that Donald Trump will wander off into other more personal attacks, trying to rattle the vice president. That's what he does. And I think that, the best thing about it is people can watch, they can make up their own minds, and, it may be that it's a draw. Legitimately putting aside the inevitable partisan reaction. But in the course of doing that, I think they're both going to end up saying the other one is lying. I think as a former prosecutor, Kamala Harris has some lines prepared about that. And for all of the media prognostication afterwards, ultimately it'll have a huge audience because all of the major news channels are simulcasting the ABC debate. People get to make up their own minds. There'll be Insta polls and all of that. But it is really one of these situations where you don't have to believe the media analysis. And yes, look, the media have been hostile to Donald Trump for 10 years. There's no doubt about it. There's no getting away from that. But the American people are smart, and they'll figure it out.
We follow this every day. It's our jobs to follow this every day. People will be watching. How do people watch these debates, do you think, other than people who are super into it and follow politics like we do every day? How do they watch it?
I think they size up the candidates, not so much on the, who has the best policy when it comes to healthcare or something like that. They size up the person. Do I like this person? Do I trust this person? What do I really know about Kamala Harris? And that's why I think there's more pressure on her.
Yeah. So is this Trump's debate to lose, essentially, in your view?
I think he has a built-in advantage, particularly in the Electoral College, which tends to favor Republicans. Because remember, as in 2016, as in 2020, Trump actually has more popularity, more people who miss what he was able to accomplish in his 4 years. And Kamala is unknown to a lot of people. And I think they just have to decide whether they like her, trust her, and feel that she could handle the responsibilities of commander-in-chief.
You earlier said you think this will be the only debate. Why? And what would make you change your mind?
Look, I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to see more than one debate. I think it'd be good for the public, good for the media, for ratings, obviously. But I'm just giving you my gut instinct, which is I think this may be it. I don't think there's 200 people in the country who don't know what they think about Trump. But if you were the VP and suddenly to a lot of America, who is this person? Because they didn't follow her vice presidential career that closely. There's a lot of curiosity and a lot of interest. Again, I'd love to see more debates. You can take this to the bank. If one candidate afterwards is pushing hard for more debates, that candidate wants a do-over.
Howie Kurtz, host of Media Buzz on the Fox News Channel Sundays at 11 a.m. Also, you can hear him on the Media Buzz Meter podcast. Of course, the big debate tonight on ABC, simulcast on Fox News Channel. You can hear it on Fox News Radio with coverage starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Great to talk to you, Howie. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate
this
it.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com.
Barbara is a real Prevagen user, and this is her story.
I'm Barbara, and I'm from St. Joseph, Michigan. I'm a retired school librarian. I'm also a library board trustee, a mother of two, and a grandmother of two. I like to be healthy. I exercise a lot. I eat in a very healthy manner. I was working full-time, taking care of an ailing husband full-time. In short, I had an awful lot on my plate. Basically, I thought that my memory wasn't as good as it had been. I needed all the help I could get. I saw the commercials for Prevagen. I started taking it, and it helped. I noticed my memory was better. There was definite improvement. I take a supplement for my heart. Why not one for my brain? I've been taking Prevagen for a little over 5 years.
Prevagen is available in stores everywhere without a prescription. Based on a clinical study of subgroups of individuals who are cognitively normal or mildly impaired, this product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Testimonialist was compensated for their time.
Did you know your life insurance is an asset you can sell? I'm Jay Jackson, CEO of Abacus Life. For almost 20 years, Abacus has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors just like you. And at abacuspays.com, we've created a free policy value calculator so you can find out the worth of your policy in just seconds. There are no fees and no obligations. Get real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus. Learn more at abacuspays.com.
Not all policies will qualify. Not available in all states.
Hey, Bill O'Reilly here, author of the #1 best-selling narrative history series in the world. Today, I'm here to talk about my new book, Confronting the Presidents. From Washington to Biden, Confronting the Presidents gives insightful portraits of all 45 U.S. chief executives. Who were these men really? Please read Confronting the Presidents, available now.
Paid for by St. Martin's.
The Vic Borselli Show.
So what's going on with the big veto session in the Missouri legislature? Is it happening? Is it not happening? We'll talk to State Senator Nick Schroer about that right out of the gate at 9:05 on Tuesday.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Hello, this is Eric from Newstetter's Fine Jewelry. We are proud to be the first store to introduce the lab-grown diamond to our St. Louis family. We are the exclusive home of the trademarked Wow Diamond, which is the most perfectly cut and polished diamond you will ever experience. When our customers see them, they just exclaim, wow. This is a diamond that will sparkle from across the room. These beautiful diamonds come in every size and shape to perfectly fit your needs. Let us educate you on these at wowdiamonds.com.
Attention thrill seekers and fun lovers. Did you know the Midwest's largest wooden roller rink is right here in Missouri? Welcome to Piccadilly Palace, your ultimate family entertainment destination. Glide across our massive skating floor, conquer arcade challenges, put your way through mini golf, and dive into cutting-edge virtual reality experiences. And coming soon, a relaxing bar and grill patio, state-of-the-art golf simulators, and heart-pounding two-story go-kart racing next to East Central College in Union, Missouri. Plan your visit now at piccadillypalace.com. That's piccadillypalace.com.
When it comes to the performance of your home, you can do it right and you can do it for less money at the same time. Mike Ferguson here from my friends at Window World. They are simply the best for less. Double strength glass windows, lifetime warranty. And now for the first time, they are offering 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. So give my friends right here in St. Louis a call today. Get that free in-home estimate. Once again, 314-993-1800.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
News, analysis, opinion.
Day one, it's going to be about implementing my plan for what I call an opportunity economy.
Where has she been for 3.5 years?
We can increase a thriving clean energy economy without banning fracking.
Kamala's website is all vibes, no policy.
I'm not going to vote for a wall under any circumstances.
Campaign aides say Kamala now wants to build the wall.
101.9 and 94.1.
My values have not changed.
News Talk STL.
St. Louis is #1
for conservative talk. Fox News Radio with Democracy 24 pre- and post-debate reporting and analysis. Hosted by Jared Halpern and Jessica Rosenthal. The ABC presidential debate simulcast on Fox News Radio. Listen starting at 8 p.m. tonight at foxnewsradio.com and on the Fox News app. A look at what's happening from the Fox News Rundown.
It's Tuesday, September 10th. This is the Fox News Rundown. We're just hours away from tonight's first presidential debate. Fox News Radio will provide live coverage and a simulcast of the ABC debate beginning at 9 p.m. Eastern. The United Nations General Assembly begins a new session today. 13 U.S. service members killed during the disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal in 2021 will be posthumously granted Congress's highest honor, the Congressional Gold Medal. I'm Sue Guzman on the Fox News Rundown.
This is the Fox News Rundown.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com. Colombo and Company.
Tuesday is debate night. We'll carry the presidential debate live starting at 8 p.m. and we'll preview it. Rain Durham from nothingbutTruth.com at 2:20 and Susie Moore from Red State at 3:05.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros. When Christine and I bought our new house, we knew the gutters were an issue. And after meeting the Gutter Pros team, we knew that they were right for us. Gutter Pros is your all-in-one gutter service team that offers a variety of affordable solutions. And they even offer free estimates, so there's no cost to you to find out if they are right for your home, just like they were for ours. If you're having a problem with your gutters, contact the Gutter Pros now, because with Gutter Pros, water goes where they tell it to. Call them at 314-656-7195 or visit gutterpros.com.
Parents want more choices rather than fewer when it comes to their children's education. And now some Missouri parents will have one more option to get their children the best education available. Low-income students and those with disabilities in Missouri's largest communities can now apply for an Empowerment Scholarship Account, or ESA. With an ESA, the money the state would normally pay to your child's public school goes into an account that you control. You can use the funds for private school tuition, online learning programs, a private tutor, or other approved uses. You can tailor your child's education. For too long, Missouri officials have operated on the mistaken notion that parents only need one choice. They're assigned public school based on their address. ESAs put parents in charge. It's school choice at its best, with money following the students to the place that best fits their needs. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. This Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Tim Jones here for AMF Electric, which has been in business since 1989, offering a full line of industrial, commercial, and residential electrical and systems services. AMF's residential department will serve all of your wiring needs, including emergency repair, expansion, or new builds. AMF Electric also fully experienced in commercial installations, including food service, medical and dental services, and office expansions. Call them 314-647-4066. Online, amfelectric.com, amfelectric.com.
The O'Reilly Update, brought to you by Seavers JCB. Visit them at their St. Peter's location.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, if you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, listen up. Car Shield is a low-cost monthly vehicle protection plan now available to you. This protection plan is at an all-time low price. Please call 800-925-7584 for a free quote. Drivers who activate today will also receive free roadside assistance and towing at no additional cost. That is 800-925-7584 right now. On this Tuesday, tensions are high going into tonight's debate between former President Trump and Vice President Harris. There is no goodwill, no e pluribus unum. Only rancor is in the air. Both candidates have obvious downsides, and most Americans understand them. So it comes down to what voters can tolerate. Mr. Trump is not only running against the Democratic Party, but also against the corporate media. Day after day, the major networks and big city newspapers tilt their coverage to favor Kamala Harris. That drives Donald Trump mad and often leads to big lash outs. We saw that last week when he hammered ABC News, which is conducting tonight's debate. It is absolutely true that the Disney Corporation, which owns ABC, despises Donald Trump. Not sure why CEO Bob Iger allows that, since Ms. Harris's tax plan would badly hurt the mouse factory. During the debate, Donald Trump must appear much more statesman-like than he has in the past. This is not a rally or an interview. This is an exercise in persuasion and calm demeanor. On the Harris side, I expect rehearsed answers and slogans like opportunity economy, whatever that means. That lack of specificity has worked so far. BillO'Reilly.com and our many radio outlets will have the most insightful coverage of the debate and the campaign. stay close. Back after this. Are you feeling the impact of the recent changes in the timeshare industry? My friends at Lone Star Transfer are the only company I trust to help you. For more than a decade, they have successfully helped over 20,000 owners get out of their timeshare with an A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau. Customer service is their priority. For a free consultation and a guaranteed solution, 855-551-7066 or go to LoneStarTransfer.com. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Late summer heat makes a comeback today after another very nice start. Up to 87 this afternoon under a mainly sunny sky. But that sky still has kind of a milky white appearance at times as wildfire smoke drifts overhead from the western U.S. and Canada. Clear tonight, 61 for the Wednesday morning low in St. Louis. Tomorrow, the hottest day of the week, up to 91 Wednesday afternoon. Still on track for some needed rainfall Thursday night into Friday. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Have you noticed bad behavior has become normalized at interscholastic athletic events? Some fans seem angry. They lack civility toward one another. Some even get aggressive and unruly. Time out! What is going on? This has to stop. Let's not forget, school sports aren't just about winning. And they're definitely not an excuse to take your frustrations out on the official or the opponent. They're about teaching lessons like perseverance, respect, and empathy, so students can learn and grow as people, not just as players. We all have a role to play in setting a good example for our students and teaching them these important values. So fans, it's time to step up your game and behave positively at interscholastic athletic events in Missouri.
This message presented by the MSH SAA and the Missouri Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
I really like all the things you're saying.
News, analysis, opinion.
Thank you very, very much.
News Talk STL. Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. Let's get the day started right. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Okay, it is debate day. Kamala Harris, Donald Trump, they face off tonight on the debate, which we're going to carry right here on News Talk STL. I'm just going to kind of put the running question out there. Let's start on social media. All right, the Rumble chat box is up, the Facebook comments, it's all up. What do you think you're going to see tonight, and what do you want to see and hear tonight? Those may be two very different things. All right, let me know. Hey, good morning. I'm Mike. Thanks for making News Talk STL part of this Tuesday. All right, interesting conversation we had yesterday with Craig Rucker from CFACT. I don't know if you saw this article on Newsmax.com, and it has to do with the woke ideology and all these big corporations, the pushback against that. Is that pushback just a flash in the pan, or is this actually gaining momentum? Well, Craig seems to think that this is gaining momentum, and we're going to see even more pushback against the DEI and against all the woke nonsense. And here's what he had to say to back that up.
You're actually quoted in this Newsmax article I just referenced, Craig, and it's written by Lee Barney, and it's anti-woke backlash is just getting started. And see, that's what I think a lot of people, Craig, would maybe raise their eyebrow a little bit, because we kind of celebrate some victories when the woke backlash thing happens and a couple companies back off a little bit. But what the article is arguing is that this entire backlash isn't just a flash in the pan, that there's actually momentum still building. And so you're quoted in that. Kind of describe what your take is on this so people can look that up for themselves.
Well, good morning, and thanks for having me on your program again.
represent a group called CFACT, and we've been working principally on issues trying to push back against a lot of the green environmental woke stuff on climate change and other, some of the stuff Greta Thunberg and them have done to push climate alarmism. But we ally with others that take on some of the social issues, groups like the National Legal Policy Center and the National Center for Public Policy Research. And I would say much of what's been done by the consumers against, let's say, Target, which cost them $10 billion when they started getting into things like gay pride and, transgender and all that sort of thing. And then you had, of course, the Bud Light backlash that cost them like $30 billion. These were done spur of the moment kind of by regular folks, just, turning their backs on some of the companies and costing them dearly. But it hasn't been organized on those who are from the liberty movement, kind of the free market, conservative, libertarian type perspective. But we've been getting together since that and have bought shares, for example, in some of these major companies and have been going to these meetings and confronting some of the big boys who are running these companies, people like the Jamie Dimons and Larry Finks from BlackRock and others, and actually making an impact. And I would say that most of these initiatives that have come up in the last couple of years at their shareholder meetings, where those on the far left, the green left in particular, have put in resolutions to try to push the company leftward, have all failed. And they continue to fail. So I think that much of their early success was a result of our side just not playing ball.
Good morning, Craig. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So how much of this backlash do you think, or the success of the backlash, is being driven by individuals or maybe, the people who are kind of exposing what's going on here? I'm reminded of Robbie Starbuck. I don't know if you've seen him and what he's been doing.
Chris Rufo was another. Yeah.
Chris Rufo is another. And what they do is they kind of lift the veil on what the training is like underneath. And then that kind of scares a lot of these boards into compliance.
I think that's exactly what happened. I'm not entirely sure that a lot of the companies necessarily want to go this way, but there's pressures being put on them through things called, for example, one of them is ESG, environmental social governance criteria, something the Biden administration embraced, but many in Europe have as well. And for companies to get good credit scores to help their ratings in the stock market and that, they have to showcase that they're doing things along these criteria. And these criteria would be things like, they're doing with the transgender community. Are they using unions? Are they taking into account the emissions of the products that are coming up that are climate friendly? And if they get a good ESG score, that helps them financially. So, putting on the right commercials and doing things of that is kind of what they've been doing. But I'm not sure that it's more a response to external pressure. And when people show up at their board meetings or they hear from the public going the other way, I think a good many of them, not all of them, but a good many of them would just as soon drop this whole thing and get back to the business of just earning their shareholders a good profit and making good products.
One of the things that I think might be driving this as well, and I want to get your opinion on it, is that there are a lot of also these young college graduates who end up in these marketing departments and HR departments, and they are fully indoctrinated into leftist dogma, and they think that their position is a platform for them to affect leftist protests, essentially, or leftist corrective actions on the society. What do you think of that idea?
There's no question that's the case. A lot of them do get that, and the companies have made positions to hire people like that. However, if the priorities change, and you do see this from time to time, take, for example, BlackRock, which a few years ago was touting all about ESG. Now you have Larry Fink publicly coming out against it. Same with State Street, which touted it very big a few years ago. They both left Climate Action 100 Plus, which was this big initiative put on by the UN to push climate in the corporate community. And them, as well as a number of others, have all bailed on it. Hence, all the jobs that these young people came in that they took up in order to try to push the stuff, they lost their jobs, a good many of them. So I agree with you, they're hiring them, but I think they're hiring them and their positions are tenuous if, in fact, the companies can be persuaded that their shareholders don't accept that. And, time will tell whether or not this is something that is sustained or not. I think also complementing this, by the way, is that the conservative side has actually been able to work in the red states. And give an example of that was 20-some state treasurers banded together and divested themselves of their pension funds having anything to do with BlackRock. So they lost a lot of money. And as a result of that, you saw them also change their behavior. And now you got them talking like, ESG goes too far. They're withdrawing from certain things. Again, we're not out of the woods, but I think there is some progress. And my hope is that we can continue it.
Good morning, Craig. Stalponticus here. So you mentioned, of course, the DEI and ESG issues, and you've got companies besides Target and Bud Light. You also got Disney and Tractor Supply and John Deere and Harley Davidson. And one that's kind of dear to my heart that I'm having trouble accepting, but I have not gone there since I heard about this, and that's Dunkin' Donuts. And Dunkin' has yeah, I know that that hurts. But Dunkin' says they will not advertise on any conservative outlet. Can you speak to that a little bit regarding that situation?
I couldn't give you any specifics on the Dunkin' Donut one, but yes, a number of them have also dropped. Of course, Dish, DirecTV have dropped conservative outlets like Newsmax and OAN and others in many cases. So I do see that continuing for a while. Again, we've only begun. They've had a big start. The whole ESG initiative and the DEI initiative, I think, started back in the early 2000s under Kofi Annan's administration at the UN when they internationally they were pushing this stuff. And as bad as we have it in the U.S., it's even worse in Europe and Australia and other places. We were slow to coming to the table. And of course, this is where I think the resistance is the strongest, is in the United States. But we're starting. And, I think with due diligence and work on our part, and hopefully with a good election result coming up, we can maybe change some of the people in the FTC and in other places to actually impact the direction of corporate America, which has obviously been targeted by the left.
Okay, so I want to follow up on that real quick, and I know we just have a couple minutes left here. We're visiting with Craig Rucker from CFACT. You just mentioned Europe's been on this before we have. They are out there. So logically, you look at Europe and say, well, what could be coming to the United States if we go down this path? In Europe, you can literally be arrested for posting something on social media that isn't affirming to a gender confused person. There are people who have been charged and arrested and have gone to jail for quote unquote misgendering a man who thinks he's a woman when you actually got it right and the man gets it wrong. So if people say, well, are we just fighting over what private companies do? Because, you talked about the freedom movement, conservative, libertarian. That's me. I mean, that's what you described, Craig. But when we look at what's down the road, if we keep in this path, that's where a culture ends up, or at least that's one of the next steps, isn't it?
It is. I do think that they're getting sick and tired of it, even in Europe. We do a lot of international work. We held a climate realism conference in Austria earlier this year. I'm going to be going to Azerbaijan and Baku for the next climate change. We've been starting to monitor these things more and more and making ties with some international organizations. The election results for the EU Parliament elections just a few months ago saw a big boost to the UK Independence Party, to the more conservative parties in France and in Germany. So we're making some inroads there. And I think with all the farmer protests that went on earlier this year, some of this woke stuff, some of this climate crazy stuff, and people are responding. But yes, they were unopposed for a long time. It's tougher to get the message out there. And they have a lot more obstacles than we do in the United States, that we still remain the best beacon of freedom in the world.
All right. And Craig, people want to learn more about CFACT. They do it where?
They can read about all these and many more issues at cfact.org. That's cfact.org.
All right, the first news dump of the day comes your way in just about 2.5 minutes or so. And like I said a little bit earlier, the debate coverage starts right here on News Talk STL at 8 o'clock. We are going to be carrying that debate live tonight. Also, for everybody who registered to win tickets to go see the Reagan movie screening with us, we are going to be contacting everybody who won sometime today. So keep an eye on your email. All right, once again, news dump coming your way here in just a couple of minutes on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Free speech is alive and well in America.
Sometimes it's hard to know what's real and what isn't.
Right here.
The country is heading in the wrong direction under this president. We're suffering shortages. America's running out of everything.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
Seavers JCB has amazing deals on JCB mini excavators ranging from 2 tons to 10 tons. The choice is yours to take 5 on one of these great offers. Take 0% financing for 5 years or take up to a $5,500 cash rebate and 5-year warranty. See terms and conditions for details. These offers are for a limited time, so head to your nearest Seavers JCB and check out their full line of JCB construction equipment or visit SeaversJCB.com.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents, and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. The city was booming. Unfortunately, St. Louis city streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline. St. Louis City Republicans believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. Learn more at stlouisrepublicans.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican Pat Curtis, Farber Treasurer.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
I heard the call to serve, so I answered. I earned a title and discovered my purpose. I found belonging, an unbreakable bond with my fellow Marines. We fought to overcome adversity together in defense of our nation and its people. I've lived a full life, rich with meaning. And even though I no longer wear the uniform, I am still a Marine. My service has come full circle. I will always look after those around me. I will always uplift and support my country and my community. Because that is the promise I made. That is what it means to be a Marine. Semper Fidelis. Always faithful, always Marine.
News, analysis,
I'm glad you're talking about this.
opinion.
I'm glad you're fired up about it, too, because I know I am.
News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
All right, quick question. Who's this song about?
I have no idea.
Elvis
Black
Presley.
Velvet, Alana Miles. I'm thinking, I honestly don't remember.
Elvis Presley.
Really?
This is a tribute to Elvis Presley.
I'm not sure that I knew that.
Yep.
Even though I played it a million times on the air.
Y98, yeah. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
I saw that, or I read like an interview. Somebody did an interview with her, and I read that. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with what we're talking about today.
That's okay.
That's a great song. All right. It is debate day. Are you fired up? Huh? Are you fired up?
Kind of.
Are you really?
Kind of.
Okay. I'm curious. I haven't talked myself into being fired up. Hang on. Let me have a cup of coffee. No, not quite fired up yet. All right. But curious. I could be fired up, but I'm just curious. All right. Also, how about this? Now, we're going to hit you with a surprise one right now. Are you interested in seeing Tucker Carlson in person this week? He and Megyn Kelly.
Oh, is that supposed to be in Kansas City?
Yep. We've got our hands on some tickets, and my hot little hands are going to give away a pair of tickets today.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
Yep. But
okay.
Here's the thing. Just understand, it's this week. It's in Kansas City.
Okay.
But I'm going to give away a pair of tickets. So if you want to win a pair of tickets and you want to go to Kansas City, we'll hook you up on that. We'll do that a little bit later on today. I got one pair of tickets I'm going to give away today. Also, the iconic voice of multiple generations has passed away. And you know he's iconic because I don't talk about entertainment news very much. But let's go ahead and dump some news on you here.
Successful dump. Wake up, America. It all worked out. They got all the news. The morning news dump.
Okay, as of right now, is Amendment 3 on the ballot in Missouri or not? That's the question. Basically, depends on who you ask. The Secretary of State says no, but the state Supreme Court could decide otherwise today. Jay Ashcroft, here's what happened. Jay Ashcroft decertified Amendment 3, citing Friday's ruling by a circuit judge, which says the referendum is invalid because voters who signed their petition were not informed of the laws that would be overturned if the amendment passes. So we told you about that part yesterday. And so Jay Ashcroft has declared that because of that ruling, it is decertified. Now, there are some legal problems with that because the ruling was essentially stayed, for lack of a better term, where no action was supposed to be taken until the appeal was heard. So there's a question as to whether the decertification is valid or not. The state Supreme Court is going to start the hearings on Amendment 3 in just over 2.5 hours from right now. And today is the deadline to certify or remove ballot questions for the November election. So the Supreme Court is likely to rule somehow before 5 p.m. And if they rule that it goes back to another court, well, that's the victory for the pro-life cause, which could happen.
Justin Sparks had a video last night where he tried to explain the situation. One of the points that he brought out was the fact that folks signing it were told, "Oh, do you support women's rights?"
Right.
And essentially glossing over the fact that it had to do with the abortion issue.
Right. And who was it? We talked to somebody about that months ago when that
Yeah,
was going
you're right.
on.
Mhm.
And what people don't realize, because they were literally setting up outside of like Catholic churches and parishes and getting people to sign saying, hey, protect women's, and
Exactly.
they were flat out lying, which is legal to get those signatures. All that matters is what's printed on the page, but we know that people were lying about that. So there are, because remember, we had that effort to get people to remove their signatures. And so, so it's all going to come down today to see what's going to happen with Amendment 3. We're going to go into more depth about that right after the national news at the top of the hour here. Okay, so ahead of today's presidential debate, obviously both candidates are preparing in completely different ways. Tulsi Gabbard, who is now part of Donald Trump's team, was on Jesse Waters' Primetime saying, don't take Kamala Harris too lightly.
She's not to be underestimated because she is talented on a debate stage. There's no question about that. But she's going to have a tough time trying to defend this record that, quite frankly, from the view of the American people, is indefensible.
All right. And don't forget, we are carrying the debate starting at 8 p.m. tonight. Here are the questions I am going to ask you all in a little bit in the 6 o'clock hour. So get the juices going in your noggin there. That is, what are you hoping to hear from the candidates? What do you expect to hear from the candidates? And those often are two completely different things still.
Yeah, they are.
All right. Other news here. After pushing back against a Republican-led report that blames President Biden for the chaotic Afghanistan withdrawal, White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby was asked if anyone has faced accountability for the failures of that complete debacle. Well, his answer is, he says, the whole administration has held itself accountable.
Not everything went according to plan. Nothing ever does. And we mourn the loss of those 13 lives at Abbey Gate every single day here. Their sacrifice is not forgotten.
And of course, Kirby went on to say that President Biden made a choice to go with what he called a flawed deal that was cut by who got blamed for it?
Oh, yeah, of course he did.
Donald Trump.
Yeah,
that's where that ended up going. All right. As the war between Israel and Hamas continues, because Hamas continues to be a terrorist organization. Senator Joni Ernst, Republican out of Iowa, shares her experience during her recent visit to Israel and how leaders in that region, she says, have just given up on having U.S. support. This is from Your World with Neil Cavuto.
They continually have asked in the past, where is American leadership? Now they're simply saying, we have given up on you and we need to do better.
Yeah, okay. So Israel's officials say they believe that at least 64 hostages still being held by Hamas are still, well, frankly, alive. Okay, congressional lawmakers back in Washington, D.C. after summer recess, so hold on to your wallet, where Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, he is mad at the Republicans and House Speaker Mike Johnson because they're trying to tie a spending bill to keep the government open with a bill that would require proof of citizenship when registering to vote.
It's a shame that the House of Representatives is once again wasting time catering to the hard right, instead of doing the hard work of responsible bipartisan governance. Speaker Johnson's slapdash continuing resolution isn't a serious effort to fund our government.
So making sure that only citizens can vote in our elections is catering to the hard right.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Man, I don't like that guy.
Oh, man. All right. He had one of the greatest, most distinctive voices in entertainment and played some of the most iconic roles in movies over the past 60 years. James Earl Jones died Monday at the age of 93.
Talk radio made in St. Louis.
Very excited for what you guys are doing for the St. Louis community.
For St. Louis. Relevant local talk.
Saying what we are thinking.
This is News Talk STL.
You guys are awesome. I love you. And it's a tremendous honor to be on the station.
News, analysis, and opinion.
Thanks for covering the local angle. Oh, people, this is America. We better open our eyes.
Really local, really good.
News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com. Attention St. Louis. The Republican Central Committee invites you to the annual Lincoln Reagan Days dinner. Join us Saturday, October 5th at the River City Casino for an evening of inspiration and insight with this year's special keynote speaker, J.J. Carell, retired U.S. Border Patrol, who served under Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump, and Biden. Don't miss this opportunity to hear from a true expert in border security. For details and tickets, visit newstalkstl.com.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. It is debate night in the Cradle of Liberty. Former President Trump and Vice President Harris will face off an hour and a half inside the National Constitution Center here in downtown Philadelphia. Police are bracing for possible protests. Barricades have been erected, barring access to the historic area that includes the Liberty Bell and Independence Hall. With 19 electoral votes, Pennsylvania is the biggest prize among the battleground states expected to decide the election. Greg Clugston, Philadelphia. And the ABC presidential debate will be simulcast live this evening on the Salem Radio Network. The manhunt for Kentucky's highway gunman takes on an added sense of urgency as the suspect vows to, in his words, kill a lot of people. The suspect, 32-year-old Joseph Couch, and people in and around London, Kentucky are understandably on edge.
It is scary because we never would have thought that this would have happened so close to home, with us always seeing the news about school shootings and all the other shootings that happen around. We would have never thought that something like this would have happened so close to home.
Tropical storm Francine expected to graduate to hurricane status by the time it makes landfall along coastal Louisiana tomorrow evening.
Going to have a very dangerous situation developing by the time we get into Wednesday for portions of the north central Gulf Coast, primarily along the coast of Louisiana, where we're going to see the potential for life-threatening storm surge inundation and hurricane force winds, as Francine is expected to strengthen to a hurricane and make landfall along the coast of Louisiana late Wednesday.
National Hurricane Center Director Michael Brennan. A billionaire is rocketed back into orbit, aiming to perform the first private spacewalk via SpaceX. Watching Wall Street, Dow futures down 14 points. NASDAQ futures are off 29. More on the spacetownhall.com.
You know, anyone with everyday aches and pains, I've got a question. What are you missing out on? Probably a lot. So let me tell you about Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. In about 3 weeks, you'll discover what it's like to feel better. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4RELIEF.
This is Matt Walsh, top charting podcaster, best-selling children's author, world-renowned DEI consultant, and now giant movie star. You can't see my face on the radio, but you can see it on the big screen in Am I Racist, hitting theaters nationwide on September 13th. Advanced tickets are on sale right now at amiracist.com. Me and the same group of white guys who brought you What is a Woman are back, this time asking America's next big question and delivering America's next big comedy. Get theaters, showtimes, and advanced tickets at amiracist.com.
Am I Racist? Rated PG-13. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Late summer heat makes a comeback today after another very nice start. Up to 87 this afternoon under a mainly sunny sky. But that sky still has kind of a milky white appearance at times as wildfire smoke drifts overhead from the western U.S. and Canada. Clear tonight, 61 for the Wednesday morning low in St. Louis. Tomorrow, the hottest day of the week, up to 91 Wednesday afternoon. Still on track for some needed rainfall Thursday night into Friday. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL. Brought to you by Jewels on Hampton, paying some of the highest prices for your gold, silver, diamonds, and more. Call 314-752-5000 or visit jewelsonhampton.com.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9, right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. I keep it on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion. St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Mike Ferguson.
It's a miracle we're not in prison.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
Are you kidding me?
Get up! Can't you hear the alarm? Get up, St. Louis.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
Good morning to the people of St. Louis.
And that's only going to be the second best voice you're going to hear on the show today. Just saying. All right. I would say the voice of a generation has died, but let's be honest. He was the voice of multiple generations. Easily, without a doubt. Because, Gabe walks in. I said, you know what I think of entertainment news?
Yeah.
I just don't like it.
Yeah, you kind of hate it. Oh, you don't just don't like it. You despise it.
I do. Yes. But
makes you break out in hives.
But this time I'm like, I'm bummed.
Yeah, seriously.
Just really, I saw the news. I went, Rachel, you're not going to believe what happened.
Yeah. I was busy working, and Janet
hit me with that one. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, come on, man. It's like, that's,
Yeah. Oh, goodness. All right. We'll get to that here in just a minute. I just put the question out on Rumble as well. Can we put it out on Facebook as well?
Sure.
What's your favorite James Earl Jones character, role, movie? And just to give you a heads up in a little bit here, I'm going to ask you which James Earl Jones movie should people go watch? Because I have an unusual one.
Okay.
That I was told about a couple years ago that I'd never heard of, and it's a fantastic movie. It's wonderful.
Awesome.
I'll tell you about that here in just a little bit. Do you realize he started movies in 1964?
Yeah. He's got a lot of roles. Like
1964.
if you see, young James Earl Jones, you'd be just like, oh wow, that was a dude.
Yeah, he was, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Man.
All right. It is debate day. What do you hope to hear? What do you expect to hear? Those are two different
Sure.
questions.
Yeah.
Let's compare notes at 620, guys.
Okay.
Okay. All right. And I've got some of the talking points from the, surrogates that are out there around the media, and we'll compare notes on that. All right. Amendment 3. Let me start here. The future of Amendment 3 will be decided today. So either the future of Amendment 3 ends at 5 o'clock today.
Right. At least for this cycle.
Right. Or it will be on the ballot. So here's what's going on. I got a call yesterday from Steve Rupp from Missouri Right to Life. So we're going to talk to him later this week, regardless of what the state Supreme Court rules here. And he was very, I hate to use the term because it's so cliche in politics, cautiously optimistic, which is a good mindset to have. But he let me know that Jay Ashcroft had notified the supporters of the pro-abortion Amendment 3 that it had been decertified, and as far as the Secretary of State's office is concerned, being removed from the ballot.
Okay, so he's responding to that to the circuit
ruling, to the circuit court
court's ruling.
Right.
Yeah.
So my guess is that's not going to stand. That's
Okay.
just my guess.
Okay.
Because the ruling itself says that no action should be taken until the appeals are ruled or are decided.
Right.
But Jay Ashcroft said this court cited this illegality, therefore it's invalid. Where I'm on a time crunch, I'm making it. I love where Jay's heart is.
Yeah.
On this, without a doubt. But here's what's going on. In about 2.5 hours, just under 2.5 hours, there's a hearing that starts in Jefferson City at the Missouri Supreme Court. That's just fast-tracked appeal right up to the top. So there are multiple options they have. They can say Judge Limbaugh is correct. This violates state law when it comes to the referendum process. Therefore, you didn't do it right. The ruling is upheld. The decertification is granted.
Right.
Or it's struck down, or whatever terminology you want to use. The other option could be that they say, no, the rules that were cited in Judge Limbaugh's ruling are for referendums on statutes, not constitutional amendments. Therefore, this will remain on the ballot in November. Another thing they could do is to say this has not gone through the proper appeals process. Therefore, it is referred back to an appeals court. Now, if the first thing happens, and they just uphold it, then
it comes off the ballot.
We win this round.
Yes.
That's my guess is that's not going to happen. That's
Okay.
just my guess. My guess is that the second thing that I just laid out is going to happen. I think the state Supreme Court, because remember, governors in the state of Missouri don't get to just pick their judges the way that like the president picks the U.S. Supreme Court judges.
Right.
The Bar Association, the lawyers select the judges. Now I know that they're going to argue that they are nominated by the governor, but the way the so-called Missouri plan works is the lawyers say, here are some options. You can pick from one of these. You don't get to go pick your own.
Right.
And then so there's some, negotiations process. And if the, governor doesn't like any of them, they can go back to round one, but the governor doesn't get to truly freely pick the judges. The Missouri plan is not a good plan.
No, I don't like
the
it at
lawyers
all.
love it, but it's not a good plan.
Yeah.
So my guess, and I am not a lawyer, I'm not a legal expert, but this is my guess, is that the judges are going to say something to the effect of, well, that rule is for referendums on statutes, not for constitutional amendments. Therefore, they're going to find a way to backdoor rule, because judges, and this is what I was talking with Steve on the phone yesterday, is that in Missouri, the judicial culture is one that judges are really hesitant to remove something off the ballot once it's been petitioned on.
Right.
They really don't like doing that. Now, do they have grounds to do that here? I think they do.
Absolutely.
But the other thing they could do is say, listen, this went from a circuit court directly to the state Supreme Court. The process is it's supposed to go to another, like an appeals court.
Okay, so question the process by which it got there.
You can go through the process and do it that way.
Kind of funny that a process could derail the the ruling about a process violation, right? So yeah.
But here's the thing: is 5 o'clock today is the deadline. So if they refer it back to, say, an appeals court, then it's really about the clock is ticking. I mean, have the ticking clock in your head,
Mhm.
and then there's probably people running over to an appeals court, begging the court to take it up. And then it's really a matter of, do you play, if you're a basketball player, do you play 4 corners and just try to run out the clock?
Right. Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah. So there could be like high legal drama but my guess is that they are going to overrule Judge Limbaugh. Our mindset needs to be, this is going to be on the ballot. Do not let up just because the Secretary of State says, well, the ruling is there, I decertify it. But decertifying it basically means that the courts do have to overrule something, because as far as the Secretary of State's concerned is, as of right now, this is not on the ballot.
Right.
And so we'll see what happens here. We'll keep you updated on that.
I figured you'd use a baseball term like 15 foul balls.
That's right. Just keep swinging, man. Keep swinging. All right. The voice, just iconic.
I am the Father.
That one still hits.
Yeah, there it is. At the age of 93, James Earl Jones passed away yesterday. Oh, and Gabe, if you're watching this on the video, he's got the tribute.
Yeah. This is me. I'm in my black mourning, but also my Vader tribute, because he's, man. I dare say that he's the voice of one of the greatest cinematic villains in movie history.
Oh yeah.
Right, because I think he set a trend. He kind of created a genre of villain there. It's just, and of course his performances span decades, like you said, Mike. Multiple generations, I think, have experienced James Earl Jones performances, and of course each one of them has its own sort of iconic elements to them.
Yeah, Barely Biggs says, I like the role he played as Admiral Greer in the Tom Clancy movie.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to be the question I've got out on social media. What's your favorite James Earl Jones character? And I think I misspelled character on the character, role, or movie. And then which James Earl Jones movie do you recommend people watch? Let's do that a little bit later on today. Let's get some recommendations.
Excuse me. You got the jersey on, Gabe, and everybody's going to see the photo today, probably all over Facebook and other social media outlets, of the Empire State Building lit up last night. With Darth Vader covering the whole side of the building.
Oh, that's cool.
Like they do the thing where they lit up certain windows.
No, this was more of the entire side of the building was all a kind of a somber looking red. And then you could see Darth in
a sort of a shadow or
shadowy figure on the side of the building.
That's really cool. Some of the effects that they can do these days.
It's on my Facebook page if folks want to go see it there. But a lot of folks posted it overnight.
That's really cool.
Goat Lady says the baseball speech in Field of Dreams.
Oh,
indeed.
Truly goosebumps inducing when he played the role of Terrence Mann. And that is one of my favorite.
I was going to say that's
roles.
Probably one of yours, right?
Yeah, it is.
That'd be mine.
But what's funny is it's actually not my favorite. It is one of my favorites, but it's not actually my favorite James Earl Jones baseball movie.
Oh, really?
There's another one I'll tell you about later.
Okay, all right. I might guess. I might guess that one.
I will be surprised if you guess this,
okay,
because it is not a movie a lot of people know about, even though it's got huge stars.
Okay, then never mind. Because I'm thinking of it. It's also iconic and in its own way.
Well, yeah, this one wasn't iconic, but it should have been.
Okay,
it was really a great movie. Vic Porcelli told me about it years ago, and I'm like, I have never heard of that movie. And so Rachel and I went and found it on Amazon or Netflix or whatever, and it was so good and so funny. It was awesome. So we'll get to that as well. So
good morning, Mr. Obscurity.
Rebecca just put the link to that picture up on the Rumble chat box.
Okay, good.
So you can see that there. All right. So a lot of stuff going on today. We are going to be giving away 2 tickets to see Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly this Thursday in person. But there's a catch. The catch is it's not here in St. Louis, but we'll tell you about that here in just a little bit. All right. Starting around 6:20 here. Let's go ahead and get started. It is debate day. What do you expect to see and hear? What do you hope to see and hear? Let's compare notes. Just about 3 minutes from right now on 1019-94.1 News Talk STL.
You have a soul so dark, it is no more. And all at once depart.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL.
Stop right now.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I see your indifference. Stop right now before you blow us all away. You want to do that? Get up, get up. Can't you hear the alarm? Get up, get up. This is your cousin. Get up, get up. What are you waiting for? Get up, get up, get up.
Hey, Tony Colombo here with Tim Jones for our friends Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway, the #1 home selling team in the St. Louis area. And I can say that from firsthand experience. My wife and I were blown away from the results that we saw from working with Rodney and Jen, from selling our old home faster and for more money than we thought possible to finding our family's perfect new home. They over-delivered every step of the way. And right now, it's still very much a seller's market. So, Tim, for folks that have been thinking about selling their home, it's a perfect time to call the Wallners.
That's right, Tony. And don't forget, they're licensed in both Missouri and Illinois. So no matter where you are in the metro area, you can put St. Louis's #1 home selling team to work for you. The Wallners' experience and work ethic, second to none. And of course, the numbers speak for themselves. The Wallners sell 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor. Right now, they're working with so many qualified buyers, they'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. If you've been thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner home selling team.
Did you know your life insurance is an asset you can sell? I'm Jay Jackson, CEO of Abacus Life. For almost 20 years, Abacus has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors just like you. And at abacuspays.com, we've created a free policy value calculator so you can find out the worth of your policy in just seconds. There are no fees and no obligations. Get real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus. Learn more at abacuspays.com.
Not all policies will qualify. Not available in all states. Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey, this is Todd Showalter. Join me on Saturday at 5 as I try to put some fun back into this dysfunctional radio station. It's The Right Mind Show with me, Todd Showalter, at 5 on Saturday. And, you know, speaking of dysfunctional, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, what are your expectations for tonight's debate? Let's talk about that here. It is 6:20 right now. By the way, okay, I did not know this until last night. We are going to be giving away 2 tickets to see Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly this Thursday, 2 days from right now.
Yeah.
In person. That's going to happen sometime in the 7 o'clock hour. It's going to be one of those call now, caller number, whatever.
Surprise.
Here's the catch. The event is in Kansas City. They're not coming to St. Louis. But if you want to see them, you could win a pair of tickets to go see it. Just understand. Now, we'll email you the tickets. You don't have to come in and pick them up here, although if you want to, feel free. We'd love to say hi, but we'll email those to you if you win. But just understand that you got to drive 3.5-4 hours down I-70 to go see Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson in person. It's going to happen at, used to be called the Sprint Center. I think it's T-Mobile Center now.
Okay.
But that's where that's going to happen. So
If you want to win those, be ready to call next hour.
All right.
Okay, we're gonna do that. All right. Let's see here. Today is the big day. I mean, it feels like it's like going to be that first big big battle of the campaign, right?
Sure.
Something like this.
Get ready for the most anticipated night in politics since Trump versus Biden.
Everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
She stands just steps away from history.
Hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
But he stands in her way.
Kamala Harris. Did you see her last night on television with the laugh?
Trump versus Harris, the free-for-all in Philly tonight.
I'm doing my best.
Free for all in Philly.
Nice alliteration.
Yeah, you always have to alliterate the name of a bout. That's
right.
like, once we had the Thrilla in Manila.
I was gonna say the Thrilla in Manila.
That kind of that did it.
Goat Lady says she's got her bottle of wine ready to go.
I'm not going to argue with that. I get it. Jeez.
That makes me think of that meme where it's like, I'm only going to have a glass, and the glass is the size of it's like 3 bottles full of wine.
Okay, so let's compare some notes here on. Let's see here. Where was this? I don't know where this audio came from. Maryland Governor Wes Moore was asked about the content of tonight's debate and what he thinks is going to be the winner for Kamala Harris. This is what he had to say.
When it comes to building economic prosperity for more people, the contrast that we are going to see tomorrow night is going to be very, very clear.
I don't know that that's the flex you think it is, Governor, if you want to talk about comparing economic prosperity.
Oh my God.
Is that really where you want to go?
Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's going to work out for them.
Yeah. So let me start kind of going around the room here. What do you expect? Let me start not with what you want, but what do you expect to see in here tonight?
I think I said this before that I think it's going to be a slap fight between cartoon characters.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the feeling that I'm getting. I feel like I'm going to be able to write a summary about it using crayon, and so I'm not hopeful for Lincoln Douglas here.
Well, I thought it was interesting that we didn't see any policy issues on her website until yesterday.
Oh, did it show up yesterday? Finally,
all of a sudden, some stuff showed up.
Whoa!
Yeah, pretty shocking that it would come in 24 hours before the debate.
Is it a new path forward?
Well, I don't know. It's a new path.
Where's it leading? It's probably not forward,
but it's more of the same path.
Mm-hmm.
In my estimation, she's trying to make it a new path, and I think that may be one of the focal points for the debate tonight. Will Trump be able to focus on the fact that she's going to be more of the same, even though she's trying to change the narrative and say, no, I'm different. I'm going to build a wall. I'm going to do this other stuff economically.
Yeah.
No, you're not. You're just pandering to everybody, and then as soon as you get in, it's going to be more of the same.
Let me go to Rumble chat box here. Jay Monty says, I would like to see fair and even questions on both sides.
That's some comedy right there.
He goes on to say, though, what do I expect? To Kamala, what color is the sky? To Trump, when did you stop beating your wife?
Yeah. I'm expecting those sorts of questions too. Now, if sometimes they'll surprise us, though, they'll throw out a surprising question. They'll hit relatively hard, I guess, on some of these with some of their allies. They'll say, hey, some people are saying this about you. Now, of course, they're going to tee it up like it's a softball rebuttal.
Right.
But the thing is, most of the accusations we have against Kamala are true.
Okay, so let's say you are the advisor to Donald Trump. God help you if you are an advisor to Donald Trump. But if you are, what do you recommend he do?
Okay, first I put down my Vicodin.
Yeah.
And then I say, don't interrupt her. Don't interrupt her. Let her hang herself. She is just as much of a liability to her own ambitions as president as Joe Biden was to his. All you have to do is make a face when she says something stupid. That is like, if you want to react, make a face, because that way it was like the meme will become, we're all Trump now. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
hey, we all feel that way about what she just said. It's like, here's like, what? Yeah, I want to tax unrealized capitalized gains. You don't have to yell. It's like, that's going to ruin the economy. You don't have to say it. Just make a face.
So play the game like he did with Biden.
Play the game. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. On Fox and Friends, Nikki Haley was asked about this, and she actually had kind of a similar approach.
When you call even a Democrat woman dumb, Republican women get their backs up too. The bottom line is we win on policies. Stick to the policies, leave all the other stuff. That's how he can win.
That's true. That's true. And I think part of it is like a lot of people who will say, no, it's like, but she is dumb. It's like, I get it. It's like, well, why would Republican women get upset? We're not calling all women dumb. We're just calling. That's true. But it doesn't matter because the way people feel is what's going to go with them into the ballot box. Sometimes you have to deal with the audience that you're dealing with, you know?
I can't wait for the first question to come up for Kamala. What's your favorite spice?
While she's being peppered with questions.
Oh, man.
Where is it? Where is it?
It's coming.
Thank you. Be here all day, folks.
6:27, you guys.
Yeah.
Had to get the drums out of the mothballs.
Now, but here's the thing. Here's the thing that the lens I would look at this through. You know, from those of us in the media who are the political pundits who generally think we're smarter than we actually are, which describes most of us.
Yes.
But understand that they are not doing the so-called shotgun approach to this. That not a matter of we're going to convince everybody to vote for me. They're looking for which specific voters are movable. And a matter of fact, on America Reports on Fox, Delaware Governor John Carney, who is a Democrat, kind of addressed that when he was asked about what we could expect to see from Kamala Harris.
I think her challenge is to hold her ground, to be consistent, and to lay out for the American people, or at least the narrow portion of the American people who haven't decided yet who they're going to support in the election.
By the way, this debate is scheduled to be 90 minutes, which means it'll be probably 115 minutes.
And late.
It's going to be moderated by ABC News. Not the worst when it comes to left-wing bias of the news, but
not the best.
In the top 5 of worst, probably. There will be no studio audience. Which,
good.
Yes,
I love that.
That's right.
Yeah. Just me personally.
The microphones.
Well, that saves us 30 minutes of applause that could be cut out.
That's true.
In between various things.
And by the way, I was wrong, but I thought that they were not going to be muting the microphones. It turns out they will be muting the microphones if the other person is talking. So I don't know who that helps or hurts, if it helps or hurts anybody on this. I kind of like.
I think it may hurt Kamala because she's got that legendary phrase of "I'm still talking."
Yeah,
I'm still talking.
Yeah,
I'm still talking.
Yeah, she was asking for the mics to go back on. That's okay. So then, still don't interrupt.
Well, right, exactly.
You're right.
That's the thing, because when Trump did that in 2016 with Hillary Clinton, and to Nikki Haley's point, Trump did not call Hillary Clinton stupid. He never called her dumb.
Right.
He called her crooked.
Yeah. That's true.
Which everybody
that
in the country, even her supporters, knew.
They were like, well,
I mean, sure. But he never called her stupid, never called her dumb.
That's true.
And so, what we've seen from Donald Trump is a different Donald Trump from 2016, where he walked in, bullied his way through, stepped in front of her, used his physical, because he's like 6'2" or something like that. Hillary Clinton's a normal sized woman. And so when he, had that presence and everything was new about Trump at that point, at least as far as politics goes, not like he was new to the country. And so it was a very different thing.
Yeah, people couldn't take their eyes off him.
You mentioned the height factor. I think she's asked for something to boost her up because she's short. So this could be interesting. But anyway, go ahead.
I've done television before. I get it.
I understand too.
It. Those are things I think some people get worked up over that just aren't worth getting worked up over.
Optics are important.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes sense.
But I would also say that we've seen a surprisingly disciplined Trump in the past 6-8 months. something like that.
I think so.
And so if he remains disciplined,
That's relative, by the way.
Yeah,
That's relative.
Yeah, I mean,
he still has his moments.
yes, compared to the Trump of 2016, the Trump of 2020, the Trump now is more disciplined. Maybe he's just age and I don't know, but
getting used to politics.
He may have learned some lessons along the way. The more disciplined Trump is the more effective Trump when it comes to the campaigns. And the debates, they're not for us political junkies.
No,
they are for, like Governor Carney said, they are for the people who are like, okay, I really need to engage. This election's around the corner. Let me start checking them out. I'm seeing everybody argue about them on social media, but I want to see for myself.
Yep.
I would
latecomers.
I'd love to see him toss in. Well, there you go again.
That's right.
Which is what Reagan did to Carter.
Oh,
yeah. Back in 1980.
What would the Trump version of that be?
I don't know.
We're going to have to think about that.
Oh, yeah. Could be. All right. Just ahead here. Yesterday we were talking about those that latest jobs report, the jobs number.
Yeah.
And one side, we said, hey, what about all these revisions? And Ryan said, he goes, it's a little decimal point. It's not that big of a deal. They're generally accurate. Well, there's some others in kind of the free market area who go, no, those revisions matter. Let's get a perspective on that right around 6:35 here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Mike Ferguson in the morning. The Allman Report.
Hey, Tuesday during the Allman Report, it's live coverage of the main debate. Coming up Tuesday during the Allman Report.
Jamie Allman. Weeknights at 8 on News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Late summer heat makes a comeback today after another very nice start. Up to 87 this afternoon under a mainly sunny sky. But that sky still has kind of a milky white appearance at times as wildfire smoke drifts overhead from the western U.S. and Canada. Clear tonight, 61 for the Wednesday morning low in St. Louis. Tomorrow, the hottest day of the week, up to 91 Wednesday afternoon. Still on track for some needed rainfall Thursday night into Friday. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Tony Colombo here for the Farmers Co-op Old Town Country Store in Old Town St. Peters, where they have a huge selection of products and services for your yard and home, including a full line of lawn and garden products, a full line of products for animal care, and that includes anything from livestock to the family dog or cat. They'll fill any size propane tank for about half the price of a new one, and so much more. Visit them in St. Peters on 2nd Street, right behind the QT at 70 and Mid-Rivers Mall Drive, and check out all their products and services at oldtowncountrystore.com.
Report cards are a good way to show how well your kids are doing in class and where they might need improvement. We at the Show Me Institute believe schools should get grades too, so parents can see how their child's school compares to others. That's why we came up with the Missouri School Rankings Project. Click on the website moschoolrankings.org and it's all there. Rankings and letter grades for all the schools in Missouri. The rankings are based on categories such as student performance in English language arts and math, ACT scores, and graduation rates. Then we take the rankings and come up with a grade point average, just like your child has. Each school and district has a grade, and the website is easy to use. And now we've added spending data for every district, so parents, taxpayers, and policymakers can see where the money is going. Don't you want to know how your child's school stacks up? Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
I want to know one thing. Where's the Republican outrage?
Live and local.
How worked up are you news and political junkies for this one at this point?
This is News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Vic Porcelli.
And Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Vic.
Ken and I are on every Monday through Friday, 9 to 11, right here on News Talk STL. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh, my morning people.
I'm not trying to get too wonky here, but you remember that news story, gosh, what was it, a week or two ago, where they said, oh, by the way, we've revised the jobs numbers?
Mm-hmm.
And not by just a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
And normally we get that, 3 months ago, the jobs numbers that we thought it was 150,000.
It was actually 120,000. And we're used to that. But then they say, we look back over this time period of like a year or two.
Yeah, past 12 months or so.
Yeah, this 12-month period. And we just missed the mark. It was like between 800,000 and 1 million. Don't worry about it. Just move on.
About a mil.
And we're like, whoa, hold on here. This is like your entire claim of your administration to do this. So you can we could try to take the politics out of it. But it goes really deeper than just one election cycle, okay? I think it's a little bit bigger than that. Let's get to that here in just a second. 6:36 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Stel Ponticus here. Don't forget News Talk STL's app. It's free. We've got this thing running smoothly, man. This is a great app. Check it out. Free. Takes about 10 seconds to download. Does not take up very much memory on your phone. No space. And so you can take us anywhere that you want. Joined now by Kevin Hopkins from the R Street Institute. And Kevin's got this is a really interesting piece that he's got. Now, it's like a full report. So it takes, several minutes to read it, but it's really interesting. It's just called The Great Jobs Deception. And Kevin, we talked to somebody from a different institute yesterday. We kind of do this thing about once every other month or so with them. And we just
also free marketers.
Yeah, also free market. I mean, they're on the right side. But we asked about that because the jobs number said, last month it was 140 some thousand and change jobs that were added to the economy. And now I feel compelled to ask, but we know there's a revision. How much can we trust the jobs? And, his answer was, yeah, for the most part, the decimal point may be here. It's just not that big of a deal. This is a good snapshot of a moment in time. And just increasingly, when we saw that big adjustment of hundreds of close to million-ish jobs different, I kind of look back after all these years in media going, wait a minute. This goes to the foundation of, am I supposed to trust the reporting on the economy, which affects everything from investing to different markets, housing and securities and all these other things out there? But at what point do we say, wait a minute, either your methodology is wrong or your intent is wrong, or your competence isn't where it's supposed to be? When you say the great jobs deception, what do you mean by that?
Good morning. What I mean by deception is that there is a point at which normal forecasting errors and normal calculation errors turn into something more. And as you talked about in your introduction, it's normal for jobs numbers or any economic number to be off a little bit. I mean, the GDP number may be revised from 2.1 to 2.3 or something like that. Jobs may be revised by 10,000, 15,000 because it's an approximate exercise. And just so everybody understands, when the government estimates jobs, they call around to a certain number of employers and they ask how many people are employed, and they increase the number over time, and so they get more and more refined numbers. But what's been happening in the jobs numbers recently is that the revisions are far more than what chance would expect. And if you look just over the last 2 years, the jobs numbers have been revised down by 18 times, and they've been revised up just 6 times. So what happens, the dynamics of it is when the jobs numbers are first reported, they're outstanding jobs numbers, hundreds of thousands of new workers, and millions of new workers on a really exceptional month. But that gets lots of news, lots of attention, and everybody says, wow, we're doing really well. We're not even close to a recession, things like that. And then over time, next 2 months, the jobs numbers are revised down, sometimes 5,000, but more likely 20, 30, 50,000. And that never gets reported. And so you have this false picture being painted of the jobs numbers being much better than they are. That's basically what's happening, and I call it a deception because we create a very positive picture when in fact the numbers negative in terms of much less positive than was originally reported. And one final point on that the numbers that really matter are the jobs numbers plus or minus the revisions. So if you have a time like you're talking about here with 142,000 jobs reported last month, which wasn't very good, it's much less than the normal 300,000 or 400,000, which is a good month. But then they take away the revisions from the previous month, and you have a net of about 80,000 new jobs, which is abysmal for an economy that's supposed to be growing strong.
Morning, Kevin. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So, I guess I kind of have two questions, but I'll just pick one. What is the effect of this deception? What are the results of having these numbers be so off?
Well, there are two effects. One is the political effect that creates a much more positive impression for whoever the administration is. In this case, we have a very deceptive administration in terms of the Biden-Harris administration. But there's also a policy effect as well. If you know the economy is doing really well, the Federal Reserve watches that, and if they see the economy is doing really well, they don't want to cut the interest rates because that will supercharge the economy. That will create more inflation and push inflation back up. And so they hold back on doing that. When in fact, if the true job numbers were being reported, they would have more of an incentive to reduce interest rates to stimulate the economy and stimulate jobs production. The second thing is that they might do, or the policymakers might do, is to reduce taxes for the same reason. Of course, we know the Biden-Harris administration will not reduce taxes. They want to increase it, but a normal administration might do that. They might reduce taxes to stimulate the economy. But one other thing that I don't talk about in detail in the article, but that is also a very important thing, it's the composition of the jobs. And the composition of the jobs is very important as well. This most recent jobs report, for instance, indicated that there were 1.3 million new jobs for foreign-born workers and 1.1 million fewer jobs for native-born workers. So yes, there are more jobs, but they're going to people. They're not going to the people who are native to the U.S. They're going to foreign-born workers, the majority of which are illegal immigrants. And so it's deceptive in that way. It's also deceptive in that the vast majority of new jobs that have been created for both native and foreign-born workers are part-time work, and the number of full-time jobs has gone down dramatically over the last 2 or 3 years. So that makes the picture even worse. We do not have a very positive job situation. We haven't for the last couple of years, and that's been extremely deceptive.
Good morning, Kevin. Stalpontikas here. So if this revisionist history happens to show up tonight at the debate, would you like Trump to focus on the fact that it's yet another lie from this administration? Because to me, it says, you know what? We've changed the numbers here, and these numbers are actually what affected that conversation around a soft landing versus a hard landing for the economy. So if it shows up tonight, what would you like to see Trump do with it?
I would like to see Trump focus on the 818,000 jobs downgrade that the government did last month. And that, by the way, is a revision for over the course of the entire previous year, not just for the last couple of months. I would like to see him focus on that and talk about the government, the Biden-Harris administration, lying about that, just like they lie about pretty much everything that's of consequence. And President Trump has spoken about that in many of his rallies and other talks that he's done, interviews and the like. A man who does 30 plus interviews, well, Vice President Harris is too busy to do more than a single 18-minute sit-down interview. So, I mean, he's very experienced at talking about this, and he definitely should bring that issue up.
We are visiting with Kevin Hopkins from the R Street Institute, and the article is called The Great Jobs Deception. Okay, in the last minute or so, we've got Kevin. Is this a matter of we need a better methodology to get something more accurate, or is this a matter of, no, we have the tools, you just need to tell the truth?
It's a matter of both. I used to work in the government and actually worked on economic issues like this and statistical estimation. It's always a challenge, but it's gotten so much worse over the previous years. And one of the things they need to focus more on are the number of people who actually have jobs rather than the number of jobs, because there are several million people now are working 2 or more jobs to try to make ends meet. So they need to focus on the right thing. They need to do a better job of estimating. But the main thing is they need to be honest about this. And it's not clear what exactly they're doing. A lot of what takes place is statistical adjustments that are changing their assumptions from month to month, and that is purely political. And they need to have people in there who make honest decisions about this. The estimates will change, obviously, because it's an estimation process, but there is no way in the world they should change in the way that they do, as much as they do, and in the direction they do pretty much every month.
Yeah. So, all right, government, you heard it. Start telling the truth, will you? Yeah. Well, I'm sure they'll get right on.
We're going to continue making that.
All right, Kevin, where do we find your article, The Great Jobs Deception? And if people want to follow your work, how do they do it?
It's on the website rstreet.org, and you can just look under articles. It's under the commentary section, but you can just search, or you can search on Google and find it. Just look for Kevin Hopkins, R Street, and then The Great Jobs Deception, and you should be able to find it.
All right. Thanks,
Kevin.
Unless
Google's playing games.
They would never do that. No, that would never happen at all. All right. Hey, Kevin, thanks so much. Really appreciate the conversation.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. What's going to be the fate of Amendment 3 in Missouri? We've got the update for you, because we're going to know for sure one way or the other today, sometime today. But we'll give you the update here in about 2.5 minutes on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy. This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
On Saturday, September 21st, the Cardinals host the Guardians. And on that night, 25,000 fans ages 16 and older will get ready for the colder weather with a new for 2024 Cardinals jersey hoodie, thanks to Stiefel. This unique wearable features a home white jersey over a red hooded sweatshirt. Don't miss your chance to add this to your Cardinals wardrobe. And that'll be on Saturday, September 21st, the Cardinals jersey hoodie. For tickets, visit cardinals.com/promotions.
Join football royalty at Busch Stadium on Saturday, September 21st for the greatest show on turf's 25th anniversary celebration presented by Bally Sports. Secure your theme ticket now to take home an exclusive greatest show on turf cap. Upgrade your experience with one of the day's VIP events. Autograph sessions with Torrey Holt, Marshall Falk, or Isaac Bruce, or a Q&A session with Mike Martz and Mike Jones. That's Saturday, September 21st. Tickets and details at cardinals.com/theme.
To our brave police officers and first responders, we say thank you for risking your lives to protect us. To all the incredible volunteers who've joined hands with the David Dorn Foundation to raise funds for equipment and services, we extend our heartfelt gratitude. We stand strong with our volunteers who give their time, talent, and dedication as a shield of support for those who rush into danger. The David Dorn Foundation gives a big thank you from our heart to yours. Visit dornfoundation.com and join as a volunteer.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
Cold late nights so long ago when I was not so strong.
All right, it is debate day. Are you fired up?
Kind of.
I want you to tell me why or why not here in just a little bit here. Also, do you want to see Tucker Carlson in person this week? Yeah, we can make that happen for you. We're going to give away 2 tickets to do just that. Details on the way. And an iconic voice, not just of one generation, of multiple generations, has died. Let's dump some news on you, people.
The morning news dump. Are you joking? Is this a joke? Listen, folks. The morning news dump.
All right, as of right now, is Amendment 3 on the ballot or is it not on the ballot? Well, that's going to be settled today. The Secretary of State says it is not on the ballot, but the state Supreme Court could decide otherwise today. Jay Ashcroft decertified Amendment 3 yesterday, sent out a notice to the amendment's supporters and backers saying because of that ruling, citing the ruling Friday by a circuit judge, he says because of that, the referendum is invalid because voters who signed the petition were not informed of the laws that would be overturned if the amendment passes, saying it violated the law. Now I'm decertifying this ballot. The supporters have actually filed a motion with the state Supreme Court asking Jay Ashcroft to be held in contempt of court for doing that. Whether or not that's going to be heard today or not, I don't know. I don't think it matters today. But today is the deadline to certify or remove ballot questions for the November election. So the Supreme Court is likely to rule somehow before 5 p.m. And we'll talk about this in a little bit more depth in the 7 o'clock hour. I personally see 3 options that they could go, but I am by no means a legal expert. So I'll tell you what those are. Is there a chance that that Amendment 3 could be defeated in the courts? Possibly. I wouldn't count on it, though. I don't think the story is over. All right. We mentioned the big debate here. So tonight's presidential debate, obviously last minute prep for both candidates. Tulsi Gabbard, who's now part of Trump's team, was on Jesse Waters' Prime Time on Fox, and she gave her thoughts on how Vice President Kamala Harris is likely to perform at the debate. And she kind of has a warning for Donald Trump.
She's not to be underestimated because she is talented on a debate stage. There's no question about that. But she's going to have a tough time trying to defend this record that, quite frankly, from the view of the American people, is indefensible.
Okay, coverage of that debate starts at 8 o'clock right here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. And just a little bit later on, what do you want to see or hear? What do you think you're going to see or hear? Because I think those are 2 completely different things.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, there's a lot of daylight between those 2 perceptions there.
I got to tell you, I don't know that I'm fired up for the debate, but I'm really curious. So I am looking forward to hearing it.
I'm looking forward to all the sound bites that are going to come.
Oh yeah, I'm going to be in a little extra early tomorrow to get all those done.
What do you think, Steph?
I think Trump needs to be really careful because we forget the fact that she's a trial lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And also she's had plenty of experience with 8 years, I believe, as Attorney General and 8 years as a DA in California. So she's got that political acumen, and whether she can express it, that's probably the focal point of what we'll look at tonight. But still, I'm interested to see how she responds to everything tonight.
Yeah. According to Chris Harps, it's going to depend on how drunk or high she is.
Yes.
Maybe it's going to depend on how drunk or high we all are as we're listening to it or watching it. That might make a difference as well.
That's true.
And no matter what happens, the mainstream media is going to say, "Oh, she did a great job.
Yeah,
oh,
no, I think
she
that's-
was awesome. She answered every question."
Oh, tons of head pats are coming.
Oh,
Yeah.
You did so good.
Oh man,
Here's a treat for you.
Good little vice president. Good job. Good job. Good job.
It's like a fourth grade recital. It's like that cacophony of whatever the heck you were playing up there on the piano. That was great. Here's your flowers.
Okay, now after pushing back against a Republican-led report blaming President Biden for the chaotic Afghanistan withdrawal, which led to the death of what we now know as the Freedom 13, White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby was asked if anybody's faced accountabilities for the failure of that pullout of the Kabul airport. He says, or actually out of the entire region, he says the whole administration has held itself accountable.
Not everything went according to plan. Nothing ever does. And we mourn the loss of those 13 lives at Abbey Gate every single day here. Their sacrifice is not forgotten.
Now, while holding themselves accountable, apparently, he also mentioned that President Biden chose to go with what he called a flawed deal that was cut by who?
Oh, it's Donald Trump's fault.
Donald Trump's
fault. The flawed deal.
Yes, precisely. There.
Bad orange man.
Yep. All right. Well, this is actually the rare celebrity news that actually got my attention here. He had one of the greatest, most distinctive voices in entertainment. But don't focus just on his voice. He was a tremendous actor. He played some of the most iconic roles in movies over the past 60 years, starting in 1964. James Earl Jones died Monday at the age of 93. So I'm going to ask the question, favorite character role, favorite James Earl Jones movie. Which James Earl Jones movie should you recommend people go see? I've got one that you probably never heard of before. All right, the Cardinals start a 3-game home series with the Reds this evening. First pitch at 6:45. 19 games left in the regular season. They are 6.5 games back in the wild card race and 10 games back in the National League Central.
The Herzog Tomorrow Foundation provides private school tuition scholarships through Missouri's new Most Scholars program to cover the cost of accessible, high-quality schooling.
Hi, this is Maela Esser with the Herzog Tomorrow Foundation. Our private school tuition scholarships wouldn't be possible without the support of generous Missouri taxpayers. If you're a Missouri taxpayer interested in redirecting your tax dollars and sending them to Missouri students in need of a better education, please contact me at herzogmostscholars.org.
Better education for students creates a better tomorrow for all. Learn how you can help provide a better education for Missouri students at herzogmostscholars.org. That's herzogmostscholars.org. Also, sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. herzogfoundation.com. That's herzogfoundation.com.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
KLDY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Tonight, Philadelphia the place. The city is hosting the first and perhaps the lone presidential debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris.
Tonight's debate could be the only face-to-face encounter between the two presidential hopefuls. Debate. Harris has only agreed on tonight's debate so far. Polls continue to show a dead heat nationally and close margins in the handful of battleground states that are expected to decide the election. Tonight's 90-minute debate from Philadelphia's National Constitution Center can be heard on the Salem Radio Network beginning at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Greg Clugston, Philadelphia.
Coastal Louisiana in the bullseye for what's expected to be Hurricane Francine by the time it makes landfall tomorrow.
There's a hurricane warning that's in effect from Sabine Pass eastward to Morgan City, Louisiana. And so we're expecting the make landfall somewhere within that hurricane warning area during the day on Wednesday.
The National Hurricane Center's Brad Reinhardt. Ukraine strikes back.
Russian officials report over 140 Ukrainian drones have targeted multiple regions, including the capital Moscow and surrounding areas, in one of the biggest Ukrainian drone attacks on Russian soil in the 2.5-year war.
Correspondent Charles Deladesma says the Russians reported at least one person others injured. SpaceX undertaking another groundbreaking venture, the first private sector spacewalk. A SpaceX capsule is carrying a billionaire tech entrepreneur into orbit. Jared Isaacman planning to take a space on Thursday. On Wall Street this morning, the Dow futures down 31 points. NASDAQ futures off 21. More on these stories, townhall.com.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
My debt problem started probably about 2016. I needed my life to change financially. I called Trinity and I ended up joining based on high credit card bills and high interest rate. And my counselor at Trinity has been great, and Trinity has been helping me to get on the right path of paying off these credit card bills, bringing down the interest rate. They have consolidated my bills into one low monthly payment. And now I am finally getting out of credit card debt. So I just want to say thank you, Trinity, for showing me a better and greater path.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 800-990-6976.
My name is Sharon, and soon I will be debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Late summer heat makes a comeback today after another very nice start. Up to 87 this afternoon under a mainly sunny sky. But that sky still has kind of a milky white appearance at times as wildfire smoke drifts overhead from the western U.S. and Canada. Clear tonight, 61 for the Wednesday morning low in St. Louis. Tomorrow, the hottest day of the week, up to 91 Wednesday afternoon. Still on track for some needed rainfall Thursday night into Friday. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
For over half a century, Joe Bacardi's has been serving up a little taste of Italy right here in St. Louis. Family owned since 1971, we're more than just a restaurant. We're a local landmark. With 4 convenient locations, we offer something for everyone, from our famous pizzas to mouth-watering entrees and delicious salads. Dine in with a glass of wine or grab a quick carryout. Whether it's dinner for 2 or catering for a crowd, Joe Bacardi's has you covered. Visit joebacardi's.com and join our loyalty program. Joe Bacardi's, where every meal ends with buon appetito.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple saw stereo!
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice
drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin.
All right, let's talk Amendment 3. Will it be on the November ballot? Will it not? We're going to find out today. As near as I can tell, I think there are basically three options that the Missouri Supreme Court will consider. I think our mindset needs to be, we need to stay geared up to fight this thing. I will explain why here in just a moment. Don't forget, News Talk STL is your home for the debate tonight. I do think that there is a little more of a buzz about this particular presidential debate than I think what we have seen in the past.
Yeah, a little
on
bit.
Some of the debates. Possibly, I think people realize this may very well be the only one.
Yes. Yeah, I presume that it's going to be the only one.
Right. So
that's my assumption.
And it comes down to how important are these debates? For that narrow group of people who haven't decided yet or haven't decided whether to show up or not, or if there are people who haven't decided between Harris and Trump, they're now just checking in, and they could be influenced. So we'll see how that goes. But we'll talk about it in more depth a little bit later on.
I don't know. I'm feeling unburdened by the past.
By what has been
and what has been.
By what has been. Yeah, precisely. Yeah.
Oh my God.
All right. So let's talk Amendment 3 here.
Okay.
314-912-1019.
Where we're burdened by the future.
Right. So it was interesting because, I'm looking at, a lot of different like news coverage every morning when I get in. And one of the things I looked at was one of the TV reports here in town, and they put together, some sound bites of some of the highest profile Democratic leaders who are saying we've got to pass Amendment 3. And that includes Tashara Jones and includes Sam Page and includes Quentin Lucas, who is the mayor of Kansas City.
Yeah.
And they had a sound bite from him.
Okay.
And it was interesting because now this is a very smart guy. If he lived in a blue state, this guy would be on track to be in the U.S. Senate.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But it ain't happening because he's in the show me state.
Yeah,
which is a good thing because he's a very, very competent politician who is about as radical as, Tashara Jones is.
Terrible combination.
Right. But he's very marketable. He does a very good job marketing himself. Very, very popular in Kansas City. And he said, what's the harm in letting people vote? We're just going to let people. And that's one of the that's the message. What are you afraid of? Let people vote. Let people vote. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's part of the message that you're getting because if Amendment 3 stays on the ballot, part of the message is they didn't even want you to vote on it. What are they afraid of? Well, we're afraid of human beings being ripped limb from limb.
Yeah.
But that's part of the messaging that resonates with people who don't always think about these things as deeply as we do.
Yeah, they're not paying attention, so it's easy to get caught up in a quick turn of a phrase or a very, like you said, well marketed sort of position.
So the legal drama surrounding Amendment 3 is a little convoluted here, but if we go back to the very beginning, and Jay Ashcroft once again has sort of stepped out and made a move on this. Now, here is what's happened with the Secretary of State's office, is that when they submitted their paperwork to start the referendum process for the constitutional amendment, the Secretary of State's office is supposed to write the description, for the ballot initiative. He wrote it in a very pro-life way. He wrote it in a way that was incredibly biased against the amendment. And I think he was well aware that the courts were going to throw that out.
Oh, yeah.
But as we pointed out,
it delayed the proceedings a little bit. So I think that was part of the calculation.
Right. It took weeks off of the amount of time that they had to start gathering signatures. So it was strategic. Now you can argue the Secretary of State's supposed to be neutral. Was that appropriate or not? But Jay Ashcroft submitted, the language. It was rejected by the courts and rewritten. Well, then for the ballot summary, he wrote language which was accurate. I mean, we went with Steve Ruff from Missouri Right to Life line by line through it, and he cited the elements of Amendment 3 that back up the ballot language that Jay Ashcroft wrote. But could you tell that the person who wrote that was not a fan of it? Sure. Was it like super biased against it? I mean, you could tell that the person who wrote it wasn't wild about it, but it was accurate. a judge threw that out and wrote pro Amendment 3 language on the ballot summary, in my opinion. So now, after Judge Limbaugh rules that the referendum process violated state law, Jay Ashcroft yesterday sent a notice that he has decertified Amendment 3. As of right now, it is not slated to be on the ballot in November. Okay, that does a couple of things. One is that I've mentioned that judges in Missouri are hesitant to overturn something.
Yeah.
So maybe it's semantics, but as of right now, the Secretary of State's position is that this is not on the ballot. You're going to have to rule to put something on the ballot that's not on the ballot.
Right. Okay.
Now that's going to be semantics in a lot of people's eyes.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because my experience covering state government back from before I was a talk show host, I was a news anchor, and before that I was a news reporter. Judges in Missouri are really hesitant to take a referendum off the ballot if it's been petitioned on. They don't mind taking one off the ballot if the legislature put it on directly as much, if there's a process problem. But if there were signatures that were verified, they're hesitant to do it, even to the point where they're kind of willing to overlook a few I's that weren't dotted and a few T's that weren't crossed, so to speak.
Right.
So that's just kind of the judicial culture that we see in Jeff City. So here's where we're at. And by the way, you have to love where Jay Ashcroft's heart is on this.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
The courts will determine whether or not he was allowed to do what he did.
Right.
So here's where we're at. The Supreme Court, in about an hour and 15 minutes, begins a hearing on Amendment 3. It is the appeal of Judge Limbaugh's ruling. So stay with me here. And 314-912-1019 if you want to be involved in the conversation. By the way, keep a hold of that phone number because somebody's going to use it and win some tickets to see Tucker Carlson later on this hour. So basically, I see three options, Gabe. The court can uphold Judge Limbaugh's ruling and say, well, Missouri state law says that you have to disclose which laws will be overturned if this passes, and you did not do it. Therefore, you did not do this in compliance with Missouri law. We sustain this ruling. Amendment 3 is now null and void. It will not be on the ballot.
Right.
That's one option.
Mm-hmm.
I do not expect that to happen. It could happen, but I don't expect that.
That's the optimistic view.
Right.
Is that would happen?
Right. Another option that they could do is that they could say, well, listen, we have an appeals process. This is a ruling from a circuit court. It needs to go to an appeals court. It's just, you got to go through the process. We refer this to an appeals court. Now, if that happens, keep in mind, there is a deadline of 5:00 today, no matter what, to certify or kick something off the ballot. So if that happens, you probably literally see a mad rush and people running to an appeals court.
Yes.
Actually, probably what you have are people standing by at an appeals court.
Yeah.
And they get a text and then they go file, the appeal real fast. And they beg the judge to hold a hearing immediately and issue a ruling of some kind. Because as of 5:00 today, it's set. It's decided, at least in theory. I think that is unlikely as well. My guess is that the Supreme Court will make some kind of ruling. Now, if they say, listen, the ruling has to go through the appeals process, that runs out the clock.
Yeah.
And then, the pro-abortion side has to start all over in 2 years.
Yes. Now that's presuming that the Secretary of State's removal stands up to muster as well, right?
Well, no, not necessarily. I mean, if they say, we're not going to rule on whether that is the Limbaugh ruling is in effect, because that wouldn't even affect the Secretary of State. If they rule that Limbaugh's ruling is valid, or they say we don't know if it's valid, but the appeals court needs to decide this before it comes to us.
Okay.
Then they could still overrule Limbaugh's ruling, but if it's not done by 5:00 today, well, then, they could probably have a challenge to Jay Ashcroft's, which will take up more time.
Right.
But so
that's true. So there is a potential there to run out the clock.
So what you have right now is an effort to literally run out the clock.
You know what? The Democrats have been doing that
yeah.
to us for so long in so many areas. I'm glad that
Right.
there's a possibility we could use that.
Well, in the legislature, that's what the Democrats have done to run out the clock on initiative petition reform and some of these other bills. And Republican leadership has been happy to go along with it.
Oh yeah, they just let it
Republicans
happen.
have done that too. Now, here's what my guess is going to happen just based on 28, 29 years of doing this.
Mhm.
My guess is that they will find an excuse to backdoor this back onto the ballot. Saying something, and I'm just going to kind of guess here, saying something like, well, those rules were for referendums on statutes. This is a constitutional amendment that supersedes it, or something like that. And they'll find a way to put it back onto the ballot, and then they can deal with, which would overturn the decertification, thing. That's going to be my guess. So I hope I'm wrong, but that's my guess as to what will happen. I think they're going to rule in favor of Amendment 3's supporters.
Do we know who the judge is going to be?
It's the Supreme Court. It's the whole Missouri State Supreme Court.
The whole Missouri State. Okay, right.
Yeah. So again, hour and 14 minutes, they begin these hearings. And so if they rule and it goes back on the ballot, and if I truly hope that I can come on the air tomorrow and say, boy, I was wrong.
I would love that.
We saw Amendment 3 get killed to death for 2 years. But I don't think I will be. I would love to admit being wrong. I really hope I'm wrong about that. So I think we need to be very hopeful, but I think we also need to be very prepared to continue to fight Amendment 3.
Like we said when Steve Rupp was here from Missouri Right to Life, kill Amendment 3, not babies.
Yes,
absolutely.
Precisely. Yeah, Laura kind of agrees with what you were saying on Rumble. She goes, the Democrats pull this all the time. Go Ashcroft.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, no argument there whatsoever. So yeah, I think that's where we're at. There's nothing any of us can do about this at this particular moment. We have to wait until the court rules or decides not to rule and send it somewhere else. But of those three options, 2 get the job done in protecting life in Missouri. So we'll see where we go from here. All right, 717-314-912-1019. I want to come back to the debate situation. Let's do that around 7:35. Okay. A mural in St. Louis, down there by the riverfront, really got people worked up.
Well, okay, what's it of?
Is it art? Is it hate?
Oh boy.
Is it artful hate? Is it hateful art? It's really kind of interesting because then there's accusations of vandalism of it.
Oh geez.
But the vandals would be the good guys, but vandalism is still bad.
What is art?
You are semantics, man.
Yeah.
Today.
It's an interesting story. Let's talk about that right around 7:20. Okay.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL.
What are you waiting for? Get up, get up, get up.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
David Stokes of the Show Me Institute on St. Louis County outsourcing jail medical staff at 5:20, preparing you for the big debate with Dr. Randy Tobler.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Tim Jones here. I want to tell you about an awesome business located in my hometown of Eureka, Missouri that we use all the time for our exterior homestead needs. Eureka Contracting and Roofing. Veteran owned. They will come to you and schedule a one-on-one consultation. They know that replacing your roof or anything on the exterior of your home is always a really big deal, which is why they've always got a no pressure, no obligation inspection and evaluation. Fully licensed and insured. Nothing but the highest quality of materials made right here in the USA. 636-938-ROOF. 636-938-ROOF. EurekaContracting.com. That's EurekaContracting.com.
Hi, Susie Moore here. American culture is at a crossroads. My friend and coworker at Red State, Kira Davis, has written a new book called Drawing Lines: Why Conservatives Must Begin to Battle Fiercely in the Arena of Ideas. She challenges conservative Americans to stop retreating from culture and helps you to think critically through the pressing cultural issues of our day and offers practical advice and solutions. It's time for conservatives to make themselves uncomfortable and get engaged, get inspired, get moving, and get winning. Pick up a copy of Kira's new book, Drawing Lines, available at Amazon, FaithfulTexts.com, or wherever books are sold.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
The tides are changing.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
The Democratic Party doesn't stand with what I stand for.
News Talk STL.
Danny Define here with the Next Gen, all new time at this Sunday at 8 p.m. Now pour up a hot cup of coffee and tune back into the Mike Ferguson Show.
I am a liberal. I don't like it. It's not fun. We all know that. It's not fun. It's a full-time job. Conservatives, that must be so easy. You're not learning any pronouns. You're leaving your air conditioning on. You're throwing all your garbage in one hole. I'm out here. I'm like, did the compost go out? Is the compost out? How are the refugees? Are the refugees all right? What's the air quality index today? I remember last year in New York, January 15th, it was 75 degrees. And all of us New Yorkers, all of us liberal New Yorkers, we had to go outside and pretend that was bad. We had to go out on a beautiful January day and be like, this sucks, right? Climate change. I'm in a t-shirt. This is awful. Conservatives are like, wow, what a beautiful 75-degree Martin Luther King Day. I wasn't going to celebrate, but now I am.
That's funny.
I found that popped up on my Facebook reels. I don't even know the name of that comic, but apparently, like, he really is a leftist, and he was looking around like, okay, we're kind of dumb on some things.
Yes,
I love that. I just had to find a way. I've been looking all last week or two trying to find a way I could put that in there.
Self-deprecation is funny.
It was great.
Leftists forgot that for a long time.
Oh yeah.
Well, they've still mostly.
Most of them are.
Bill
Maher gets it.
Most of them are humorless morons. But yeah, Bill Maher I'll say he's getting it.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely.
On the really fringe stuff he does. So yeah, I love that. Okay, heads up here. Memorize the number. You know what? You love it. 314-912-1019. We are going to be giving away 2 tickets to see Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly this week. We're going to be giving away those tickets before 8 o'clock. So this hour, we're going to give away 2 tickets. Here's the catch, is that it happens Thursday. So just a couple days away. I did not know about this till last night. And it's actually in Kansas City. So if you want to go see Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly, and you don't mind scooting down I-70 and to see them in person, get ready to call, because we are going to give away a pair of tickets before 8 o'clock to do just that. Okay. Art versus hate, or can hate be art? There's a debate. There's kind of a buzz over a new mural in St. Louis. This is down by the riverfront rather. Okay. And so here's what's interesting. There was, I guess, something, and this is not graffiti. It's a planned thing where people, the city brought in, okay, here's, artists and do murals, and
so we
post it up and looks nice.
It's a true mural.
That wall has been there for ages, and there have been murals on there for ages, which is why I'm surprised that it's taken this long for something like this to show up there.
Right. So you've seen the picture.
Yes.
Okay. So,
I haven't. I have no idea what we're talking about.
So what happened is somebody did a mural, and it has the word Gaza. And, the word, the letters Gaza in Gaza are the colors of the Palestinian flag.
Okay.
And then it shows a terrorist holding a weapon. I can't tell if that's just a high-powered rifle or whether that's an RPG.
Okay.
But it's a big ass gun.
Okay.
And he's in the black and white headscarf thing,
The keffiyeh thing.
the
yeah.
keffiyeh thing, yeah. And so the mural is literally of a Hamas terrorist.
Okay.
That is part of this, program to beautify that part of St. Louis.
So, Gabe, if you drive along the riverfront,
Yeah.
it's that wall that faces the Mississippi,
Yep.
and it's in that it's an area that a lot of folks aren't really familiar with. But you can go down there, and a lot of artists have done murals along that wall for years. And I'm just surprised that it's taken this long for somebody to do something like
divisive
Yeah,
to show up.
exactly.
Basically.
And so, but I want to point out, this was not a graffiti thing. So this was like
Correct.
part of a
It was commissioned,
artist
probably.
that was invited to come be a part of this, and that they all had like so many feet
Yeah.
on the wall. Then there's a variety of them. For instance, I mean, if you drive on 40 onto the Illinois side, and for instance, I play a lot of ball games in like Fairview Heights and O'Fallon, Illinois, and Belleville, and all those areas. And there's an area where they've right there after you cross the river and you go past I think it's the Tucker exit. And then there's an area where there's a bunch of murals there too, just kind of spruce up that part of the highway.
Right.
So this is a similar thing, except much bigger. And so literally there is a big portion, and this is clearly a very talented artist.
Okay, so the art itself is good.
It's
Objectively.
very, very, very talented as far as the colors and the quality of it.
And over the years, it's always been
Right.
always been good quality stuff.
Because there is a lot of the street art that you're like,
it's like,
wow, they're really good at what they do. But it is celebrating terrorists.
Now,
murderous terrorists.
Is it celebrating them, or
Well,
is it suggesting?
Are
that,
you on Twitter?
I can get there. Yeah.
Search St. Louis Gaza mural. It'll
St. Louis
pop
Gaza.
right up.
Okay. All right.
It'll
Let me
pop
let me
right
let
up.
me take a look at this thing.
And then I saw a report, and I can't find a news report on it, but I saw somebody claim that vandals basically threw white paint over it and painted a very kind of rudimentary Israeli flag, a Star of David and a couple of blue stripes. I don't know. I think that happened, but I'm not sure.
That's an RPG, all right.
Yeah, that's an RPG.
I think so.
I mean, that's literally one that we probably left the Taliban in Afghanistan. But anyway,
one of thousands we left them.
Right. And so you have this mural that is celebrating terrorism.
Wow.
Celebrating hate. Celebrating Islamic fanaticism. Celebrating anti-Semitism. So a couple questions. Is that still art?
Well, yes.
I agree.
It's still art.
I mean, you don't have to like what the art says.
Hey, the communist regime had some really interesting art as part of their propaganda machine.
Oh yeah.
It's like there are exhibits about that era in Russian art.
Right.
So yes, it's possible to have art that is hateful or destructive.
I remember the artwork in East Berlin during those years.
Oh yeah. The propaganda art was actually pretty amazing in some instances.
So now, knowing that the artist was approved and allowed to do this was not graffiti. If I can get it confirmed that somebody threw the white paint and did a Star of David, did an Israeli flag, it's obviously vandalism of that. Now, clearly, I am going to be in the same camp as the person who puts the Israeli flag up, but is that justified to do that sort of vandalism over the art? Or is that, do we need to look at that for the vandalism action?
Wow. That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
That really is interesting because technically this was invited. This was invited artwork. So
by government though, by public.
Yes, but still if it's a public property, then the public representatives are the ones who are in charge of it. So it would function similarly to if it's my house, I get to say what color I want to paint it.
Right.
If somebody comes along and paints over the thing that I commissioned, over the thing that I have authority over, that would be a problem.
Yeah.
So I think I think it's vandalism.
I think you're right. and I hate to say that, but I don't want us to stoop to their level, because if we get into the mindset that says, well, I have a right to destroy and vandalize and commit crimes, well, then our line of thinking, our line of logic isn't all that different than the Antifa types who have been spray painting Catholic churches and pregnancy resource centers that say if Roe isn't safe, neither are you.
Right.
So it's the same logic.
Yeah.
On that. Now,
the belief that if this thing is hateful, in my view,
right,
or I believe it's not good, it's a bad thing for society, then I get to decide to remove it from society.
Yeah.
That's the same thinking.
And this is part of something called Paint St. Louis, a program called Paint St. Louis. And so, do I feel bad that some artist used a lot of time and energy and had his thing destroyed? No, I don't give a crap about his feelings.
Oh, no, I don't care.
He's clearly, he or she clearly a bad human being to celebrate literal murderous terrorists. So I have no sympathy for the actual artist.
Yeah, not even pretending like it's about the kids.
No,
in
nothing about
Gaza.
that.
Yeah.
It's literally a terrorist with an RPG. Celebrating, it says Gaza, but it's celebrating Hamas.
Yeah.
So that's the time when I go, let's keep in mind that we're supposed to be better.
Yes.
So let's be better.
We're supposed to be acting on principles,
right,
as opposed to on what we feel at any given moment.
Yeah, precisely. And by the way, Blues Nut agrees. It says communist Russia had some amazing mosaics at some point. They're collectors items. They're very collectors. That's very, very true. As a matter of fact, I haven't been to the Holocaust Museum here in St. Louis for probably a good year, year and a half or so was the last time I toured through there. But when I was there, they actually had a display of Nazi propaganda, Nazi art.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I saw one of those in the World War I Museum in Kansas City years and years ago, where they had a propaganda display of the different countries and how they used art. And it's really effective if you do it. So that's, that's a horribly offensive piece of art, but they went through the right channels and they did it. That doesn't make it any less disgusting. I just don't want to see us start stooping to their levels.
I will say though, if you decide to do something like this, if you decide to deface something horrific or whatever, and you face the consequences, then that's a protest.
Well, yeah. Ed says fight fire with fire. QT time is over.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I get it.
Well, what I mean by that is like, look, it's defying evil and paying a consequence for it and taking the consequence for it, accepting the consequence for it. I think that's a whole other realm. Yeah. I'm just saying, if we're going to call something wrong by law, then yes, it should be wrong by law every time. But morally, I think you'd be justified in painting over this thing.
There's a moral case
there's absolutely a moral case for defying law.
It's like that old Chris Rock joke. I'm not condoning it,
but I understand.
But I understand. Yeah. All right. Let's see if there's anything coherent at this debate tonight. What are you expecting? Let's talk about that right around 7:36 here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
It used to be that a lonely heart was never shown. I know that things will never be the same no more. I wanna go back and do it all over, but I can't go back, I know.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Late summer heat makes a comeback today after another very nice start. Up to 87 this afternoon under a mainly sunny sky. But that sky still has kind of a milky white appearance at times as wildfire smoke drifts overhead from the western U.S. and Canada. Clear tonight, 61 for the Wednesday morning low in St. Louis. Tomorrow, the hottest day of the week, up to 91 Wednesday afternoon. Still on track for some needed rainfall Thursday night into Friday. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
How are the trees, shrubs, bushes, and all of your other valuable outdoor assets doing at your home or business? Tim Jones here to remind you that Hanson's Tree Service at hansonstree.com is your one-stop shop for all your tree care needs and so much more. From top-notch tree services to outstanding organic mulch, green resource recycling, grinding and land clearing, and more, let Hanson's team of expert insured arborists take care of your yard so it looks the best it can be as we head towards fall. Get a free quote. Book an appointment today at hansonstree.com. That's hansonstree.com.
Larry Connor's Commentary, brought to you by Vincent Jewelers, locally owned for almost 45 years. Vincent Jewelers, the official jeweler of Larry Connor's USA. Check for daily specials at vincentjewelers.com. This is Larry Connor's Commentary on News Talk STL.
Texas Congressman Chip Roy releasing a white paper entitled America Invaded, How the Biden-Harris Border Crisis is Transforming Our Country. It's estimated at least 8.5 million illegal have crossed the border since he became president. Those are the ones we know. And we know they've left a lot of death and mayhem behind. Fentanyl drug overdoses, killing 75,000 Americans last year, an average of more than 200 a day. And the illegals also include terrorists. We know of at least 100 terrorists that have been captured, identified as terrorists, and then released into our country. And we're not doing DNA testing to find out who else is coming in and what their crimes might be or have been. And then you have Joe Biden stating in a 100-day moratorium on deportations when he first went into office, he said we should take another 2 million in immediately in a heartbeat. A country of 330 million, we should be able to take at least 2 million. We're way past that number.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents, and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. The city was booming. Unfortunately, St. Louis City streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline. St. Louis City Republicans believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. Learn more at stlouisrepublicans.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican Pat Curtis, Farber Treasurer.
Attention thrill seekers and fun lovers. Did you know the Midwest's largest wooden roller rink is right here in Missouri? Welcome to Piccadilly Palace, your ultimate family entertainment destination. Glide across our massive skating floor, conquer arcade challenges, put your way through mini golf, and dive into cutting-edge virtual reality experiences. And coming soon, a relaxing bar and grill patio, state-of-the-art golf simulators, and heart-pounding two-story go-kart racing next to East Central College in Union, Missouri. Plan your visit now at piccadillypalace.com. That's piccadillypalace.com.
Attention St. Louis small business owners. Dive into the power of video with Blue Ocean Media Group. We create affordable, eye-catching content that makes waves on social media and strengthens your brand. Don't let big budgets hold you back. Our professional team delivers pro quality at small business prices. Boost your online presence, engage customers, and watch your business grow. Visit blueomg.com today to start your video journey. That's blueomg.com.
America Decides 2024.
The Trump-Harris debate is tonight.
It'll be an interesting evening.
And you can hear it live here, beginning at 8.
We have the momentum.
Your home for America Decides 2024. News Talk STL.
Bill O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly Update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, what are your expectations for tonight's debate? What are you expecting to see and hear? That's the question I'm putting out there for everybody. I've got some perspectives from some of the politicos around the country. We'll see whether you agree or disagree. 314-912-1019. By the way, News Talk STL, the Reagan movie screening coming up on Saturday. If you registered to win, get your free 2 tickets. Keep an eye on your email today. We're going to be notifying all the winners, and you're going to need that email to get into the theater on Saturday to join us at the screening.
You know, it didn't dawn on me till yesterday that because the screening is at 12 noon, it's at high noon.
That's right.
And so it just made me think, Reagan and the old days in Hollywood and high noon.
Oh, yeah.
He
was a big Western guy, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Everybody was at the time, by the way.
Today is the big day.
Get ready for the most anticipated night in politics since Trump versus Biden.
Everything we have to do with, look, if
We finally beat Medicare.
She stands just steps away from history.
Hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
But he stands in her way.
Kamala Harris. Did you see her last night on television with the laugh?
Trump versus Harris, the free-for-all in Philly tonight.
I don't know if it's going to live up to that.
I just love the free for all in Philly.
Oh my gosh. You see her with the laugh.
Oh my goodness. All right. So that starts in just over 12 hours, 12 hours and 20 minutes. And you can hear it live right here on News Talk STL. We will be carrying the debate and, of course, breaking it down completely tomorrow. So what are you hoping for? 314-912-1019. What are you hoping for? And what are you actually expecting? Because I think those are going to be two different things.
They are.
Governor Wes Moore of Maryland. Here's part of what he says is going to be the strength of Kamala Harris.
When it comes to building economic prosperity for more people, the contrast that we are going to see tomorrow night is going to be very, very clear.
Yeah. Economic prosperity, and that's what you want to run on, Democrats? Really?
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. See if it works out for him.
So how do you, I mean, if you're Donald Trump or you're advising Donald Trump, I think you want this debate to be about the economy.
Oh, heck yeah.
I mean, you want this to be front and center. If you're Donald Trump, you want to say, all right, let's compare.
The economy and immigration and all of the things where the Biden administration has failed miserably. Absolutely, you want to run on that. Yeah. By the way, I did a quick little look into what the unrealized capital gains tax would look like if you bought a house and you owned it for like the last 30 years. And it was, oh my gosh,
right?
You would have shelled out of pocket about $100,000 in taxes over 30 years.
Just for average home.
Average home in 1994 that you purchased with 20% down at 7.5% interest. And now, of course, that house is appreciated to like 400,000 average or something like that. And you would have paid $100,000, but out of pocket because it's unrealized.
Right.
And then when you sell the home,
right,
you got more taxes.
That's
to
more
pay.
tax. Exactly. Right. You would on the realized capital gains.
Well, let's talk about the real world effect. My mom, she just can't they're closing on the sale of her house in another week or two. And so her and my dad bought the house for cash when they retired.
Yep.
So they had a house in Emporia, Kansas, sold that, downsized to the retirement house where my mom now lives. My dad was very smart. They bought it cash, added the rest to their investment portfolio. And the whole idea was when dad passes away, it's there to take care of mom, in part because of the appreciation of the real estate, which is exactly what happened. And dad died, 6 years ago or something like that.
Right.
And so if this had been in place, because basically the house's value has doubled since they bought it 9 years ago, 10 years ago, something like that.
Not even that long.
Right. And my mom is selling the house so that she can move to be closer to my brother and my sister-in-law in New Hampshire. My sister-in-law is a registered nurse. So with my mom getting up there in years, that
makes
really
sense.
makes sense. My brother's a pastor who just started a ministry at a new church, and she can be involved and help build that. And she's really excited about it. If this policy were in effect, she would not be able to afford to make that move.
Not at all.
She literally would not be able financially to make that move because of the difference of the cost of living in New Hampshire versus here in the Midwest. She's going to have to really stick hard to a budget as it is. If Kamala Harris's druthers were realized, she would not have the financial freedom to do what she wants to do, despite her and my dad being very smart with what little money that they made and invested. My dad was a Baptist preacher. My mom was a school teacher. They were not wealthy people, but they were smart and frugal and conservative and invested their money. They got some inheritances when my grandparents died, not a huge amount. None of my grandparents had college degrees. One was an entrepreneur and the other was a blue collar steel worker. And they took those and they invested wisely. Kamala Harris's proposals would wipe that financial freedom completely out from somebody like my mom if those were in place right now.
If Trump were wanted to be really prepared for this, he'd have an example of a retiree and what her plan would do to her retirees every day. Because that, I mean, you could call it's like unrealized capital gains. No, just call it the retiree destruction tax.
Yeah, precisely. Okay, now on the other side here, Nikki Haley was on Fox and Friends being asked what advice would you give to Donald Trump? Because Donald Trump can't wait to get Nikki Haley's advice on something.
Oh yeah, he was waiting for this.
But here's what she had to say.
When you call even a Democrat woman dumb, Republican women get their backs up too. The bottom line is we win on policies. Stick to the policies, leave all the other stuff. That's how he can win.
Okay, so we're back to the don't be so mean, Donald. But is there some validity? I mean, listen, a lot of the people in the whole MAGA trend and movement, they want him to proverbially hit between the eyes. But is there something to the, hey, don't be an a-hole on camera?
There's something to be said for the manner in which these hits come. And I think people don't make the distinction. They say, well, that's just Trump hitting back because my goodness, we've been taking it for forever.
Right, yeah.
Well, the thing is,
and I get that.
Yeah. I mean, hey, look, a good kidney punch is great, but you don't hit below the belt, right? But he's just punching. It's like, be strategic about it. Like you said before about Hillary Clinton, calling Hillary Clinton corrupt, that's a knockout blow, essentially. Crooked Hillary. Yes.
Hillary.
Yeah. If you call dumb Kamala, it's not going to hit the same.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I don't even think it's about being nice.
No, not nice.
I think it's about be classy and presidential.
Because there are other venues where you can do the other stuff.
Oh, sure. Yeah. There's
but to be
that.
doing it tonight, because it was a victory for him against Biden, the way that he handled it, his tone and his command during that debate, do the same thing tonight.
Yeah.
Be that type of individual.
Also, the way he threw it. I mean, he didn't have to say, man, what a dumb old guy you are. All he said was like, I didn't understand what he said, and I don't think he understood it either.
Because we were all thinking it.
That was it. Yeah. That was it.
That was the kill shot right there. So,
and it wasn't nice.
No, but it wasn't over the top. I mean, it was
exactly.
Yeah. So that's where I think that would be wise of Trump to do. I know that there's a bloodlust, but I'm saying is the people who are going to be affected, who you need to react well, are those undecided voters. Don't just want him to cater to his base. If you want to move the needle, think about the people whose needles need to be moved. That's who you got to look at this debate in the perspective of. All right, one of the great actors of our time has passed away.
Yep.
What was your favorite James Earl Jones movie or character? Let's compare some notes here at 7:52.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Dive into adventure with Great American Divers. We're your local veteran-owned scuba center offering PADI certification courses, equipment repairs, and dive travel opportunities. From beginners to experts, we got you covered. Kids can join our SEAL Team classes, and we even host pool parties. Our experienced staff is passionate about teaching, and we're the only center in the area with our own indoor heated pool. Great American Divers on Central School Road in St. Charles. Visit greatamericandivers.com. Great American Divers, where adventure runs deep.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for Capriotti's, St. Louis's newest and best sandwich shop. Capriotti's menu doesn't stop. You won't have one favorite, you'll have many. For me, the lineup includes the hand-pulled homemade turkey, the Italian, the chicken parmesan, and the list goes on. Even the fries at Capriotti's are next level. Check them out and let me know how your list of favorites is shaping up. Capriotti's Sandwich Shop is open from 9 to 9, 7 days a week at the corner of Manchester and McKnight in Rock Hill. Get more details, including how to impress at your next event with their great catering at capriottis.com.
Dreaming of upgrading your outdoor space? STL Fenceworks is the choice for you. Our skilled craftsmen build custom fences from modern vinyl to classic ornamental, fitting your style and budget. Elevate your outdoor living with low-maintenance decks designed to relax and entertain. We choose only top-quality American-made materials, ensuring your project is built to last. Your satisfaction is our passion. With over 50 years of experience, custom designs, and exceptional customer service, visit stlfenceworks.com today.
Student loans can be a strain on your family. For a limited time, the Springfield, Missouri Police Department is offering qualifying new officers up to $12,500 $500 to help ease the burden of student loans. If you're driven, honest, and team-oriented, we want to talk to you about joining our next paid police academy. Start serving your community as a leader of it with the Springfield Police Department. Visit gospd.com for more information. That's gospd.com. Brought to you by the Springfield, Missouri Police Department.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me. Cocked your head to the side and said I'm angry. 5 days since you laughed at me, saying get that together, come back and see me.
All right, we're not much for entertainment news here, but sometimes the entertainers and their characters are just part of our culture.
Oh, yeah.
They're just part of our history.
Iconic.
Absolutely. And that word gets thrown around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But with James Earl Jones, I think that that's the case. Which James Earl Jones character or movie is your favorite? Let me know. I'm watching the social media stuff, Facebook and Rumble. But first, right now, 314-912-1019. Here's the deal. We have Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly coming to the Show Me State on Thursday. They're going to be at the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City. Okay. I got a pair of tickets to give away right now. But remember, it's in Kansas City on Thursday. So if you want a chance to win that, caller number what right now, Stel?
Let's do caller number 10.
Caller number 10 right now, 314-912-1019. We will email the passes to you. You don't have to run in. But if you want to go on Thursday for free, other than your cost of gas on I-70, you got to cover that, to see Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly
in Kansas City.
Right now. Give me a call, 314-912-1019. Okay, let me just play a couple of sound bites here, a couple of clips here. Let's see here. I played the Star Wars one a little bit earlier. How about this here? How about this?
She must have hidden the plans in the escape pod. Send a detachment down to retrieve them. See to it personally, Commander. There'll be no one to stop us this time.
Yes, sir. Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father.
He told me enough. He told me you killed him.
No. I am your father. So, you have accepted the truth.
I've accepted the truth that you were once Anakin Skywalker, my father.
That name no longer has any meaning for me.
Look inside yourself, Simba. You are more than what you have become.
You must take your place in the circle of life.
How can I go back? I'm not who I used to be.
Remember who you are.
And that's just a tiny sample. All right, if you had a favorite James Earl Jones movie.
Favorite James Earl Jones movie.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's hard to pick because, first of all, those two that you just played,
Right.
Star Wars and Lion King,
Yeah.
where he played Mufasa, are easily top 10.
Oh, yeah.
Like top 10 movies. Period.
Yeah.
Of all,
Yeah.
in my lexicon. You've got King Joffrey from Coming to America.
I was gonna say Coming to America is like it's right. It might be my number one. I keep going back and forth between that and another one.
My
love
son
King
works. I love it so much, and it's hilarious to me that the two of his roles as kings are kind of my favorites, right?
Yeah.
And then of course, and then among the villains, obviously there's Vader, but there's also Thulsa Doom, who was the bad guy against Conan and Conan the Barbarian
with the worst wig ever.
It was a horrible
That was
wig.
horrible.
But he still had an intimidating presence, even with a bad wig, which is, par for the course for this man.
Right. Okay. So a couple years ago, Vic Porcelli told me about a movie. He's like, you haven't seen this movie. You've got to see this. And I had never heard
I'm really curious
of this movie.
So this is a baseball movie, you're saying?
Right. It's a baseball movie.
And immediately I was thinking The Sandlot.
Oh, I love that one too.
Because he was the neighbor. He was the
Right.
former Negro Leagues baseball player who had the big dog that collected all the balls.
Right. Exactly. That's not it. Although I love that movie.
I love that movie.
But this is a movie starring James Earl Jones, Richard Pryor, Billy D. Williams.
Wait a minute. I think I've seen
Yes.
this one.
Okay. And again, I got to credit Vic Porcelli for telling me about this movie. I had never heard of it in 1976.
Yeah.
It was called The Bingo Long Traveling All-Stars and Motor Kings.
Yeah.
And I am telling you, Rachel and I had so much fun watching that movie. It was such a great movie.
One of the most underrated movies in his
Oh
his
my
repertoire,
goodness.
I think.
And he
And a lot of those actors' repertoire, by the way,
Oh,
because it's star-studded cast.
Richard Pryor was like prime Richard Pryor
Mhm.
at that point. And this was 1976. So,
it's early.
James Earl Jones, still a reasonably young man at that
Mhm.
point, and he was awesome in that. But you can't also like discount The Great White Hope.
Oh yes, obviously.
What a great movie.
That now I think most people consider that his breakout role, right?
Oh, I would say so. It's like his third or fourth movie.
Yeah, and he was a lead, so obviously it was a big deal.
Oh yeah. I'm going through his IMDb right now to make sure there aren't any that we didn't miss here, and I'm sure there are. Let's see here. Soul Man. He was the professor in Soul Man.
Oh yeah,
I forgot about Soul
he was
Man.
the professor.
Yeah.
First of all, Soul Man is like cancellation the movie.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So there's that aspect of it.
Field of Dreams, where he played Terrence Mann.
Mhm.
But Coming to America. Gosh, I don't know. Coming to America, maybe one of my favorites. I forgot. There's Red October, Hunt for Red
Mhm.
October. I mean, there's just so many great movies that he was in.
Mhm.
Any others jump into mind here?
He was in a movie called, was it Claudine? I think it was.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, where he was opposite the titular character there. Oh man, his performance, all of his performances were just amazing.
Oh right.
Like I can't think of a bad James Earl Jones performance.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Trying to think, what else do we have here? I forgot that he was in Primary Colors. Let's see here. What about you, Stell? Got a favorite?
By far for me is Field of Dreams.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. With
his speech in that one, right?
Exactly.
Goosebumps, man. Goosebumps on there.
People will come, Ray. People will come.
Oh, you're doing it to me again here. All In Man says, don't forget his appearances on The Big Bang Theory.
Oh yeah, that's right. As himself,
right?
Because yes, those guys were gigantic tech school nerds like me,
right.
and they found him and they shared their love of Star Wars.
Yes,
that was awesome. He loves Star Wars too, by the way.
Yes,
and that was kind of the funny
joke.
thing.
Yeah, precisely. Oh man,
gonna be missed. R.I.P.
Tim Jones here for AMF Electric, which has been in business since 1989. AMF Electric's industrial team, noted for its go anywhere, meet any need, and delivered on-time service. Over the last 35 years, AMF Electric has never failed to meet a customer's needed completion deadline. At AMF Electric, they're unabashedly pro-American. They love to work with like-minded individuals and business owners who believe in freedom of economic choice. Call them 314-647-4066. Online, amfelectric.com, amfelectric.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Jim Talent, former U.S. Senator.
They have no understanding of who they're dealing with. We already have the biggest war in the Middle East, and it's about to get bigger. I think an attack is imminent. I'd say it's going to come from 4 different directions. There's going to be a lot more missiles against a lot more targets, quite possibly including American forces, and from a lot shorter range, and therefore much harder to intercept.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
When it comes to spending your tax dollars and teaching your kids, governments and school districts should be an open book. But in Missouri, that's not always the case. Recently, the Show Me Institute sent out a sunshine law request to school districts across the state, asking for information on whether certain topics are being taught. Specifically, a controversial one called critical race theory was included in the list. Many districts didn't respond. Some wanted to charge large fees to process the documents. Lee's Summit outside Kansas City wanted over $35,000. A rural district, Morgan County, wanted $15,000. The Sunshine Law does allow charging a reasonable fee for sending out information, but there's nothing reasonable about $35,000 or $15,000. These districts should want to be transparent about their curriculums. Taxpayers deserve to know what their kids are being taught. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Like so many other things, tonight's presidential debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris will be governed by a set of ground rules. Our White House correspondent Greg Clugston in the debate city of Philadelphia takes a look at those guidelines.
Like the Biden-Trump debate in July, tonight's debate will not have an audience, and microphones will be turned off when it's not the candidate's turn to speak. Trump and Harris will have 2 minutes to answer questions and for rebuttals. They are not allowed to bring notes or props and cannot interact with campaign staff during the 2 commercial breaks. There won't be any opening statements, but the candidates will have 2 minutes to deliver closing remarks. Greg Clugston, Philadelphia.
And the ABC presidential debate to be simulcast live this evening on the Salem Radio Network. A tropical storm bulking up in the Gulf of Mexico became before slamming into the Louisiana coast.
Louisiana and Mississippi are preparing for Francine, which is expected to make landfall in South Louisiana Wednesday afternoon. Hurricane specialist Brad Reinhardt is with the National Hurricane Center in Miami.
Our forecast is calling for it to make landfall as a Category 2 hurricane with maximum sustained winds around 100 miles per hour.
Reinhardt says there's a hurricane warning from Sabine Pass eastward to Morgan City, Louisiana. He says much of Louisiana and Mississippi are expected to receive heavy rainfall, which could total 12 inches in some areas. I'm Donna Warder.
The U.S. now formally accusing Iran of supplying Russia with at least some of the short-range ballistic missiles that have been unleashed on Ukraine. On Wall Street this morning, ahead of the opening bell, stock futures have turned positive. Dow futures up 33 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 49 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no coverage at all. These days, you got to do whatever you can to save money. One of the biggest expenses can be your car, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan. You could save thousands with one call to CarShield. Call 800-840-1546 now to see if you qualify. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Repairs for your engine, transmission, and more can become a thing of the past. Plus, call 800-840-1546 right now and get free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options. Call 800-840-1546 today and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Just call 800-840-1546 to see if your car qualifies. 800-840-1546. That's 800-840-1546. Again, 800-840-1546. Coverage varies by plans. View contracts and exclusions at carshield.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Late summer heat makes a comeback today after another very nice start. Up to 87 this afternoon under a mainly sunny sky. But that sky still has kind of a milky white appearance at times as wildfire smoke drifts overhead from the western U.S. and Canada. Clear tonight, 61 for the Wednesday morning low in St. Louis. Tomorrow, the hottest day of the week, up to 91 Wednesday afternoon. Still on track for some needed rainfall Thursday night into Friday. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
So you're thinking about selling the home. That could be a good idea, but maybe not right now. Let me suggest you talk to Jen and Rodney Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. They can give you expert advice. In fact, they have so many approved home buyers, they can guarantee you an offer. They sell 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor, and they do it in both Missouri and Illinois. And the other important thing, with Jen and Rodney, you get a husband-wife team, you get a family perspective, and they're not going to hold you to an obligation, no long-term commitment. You're not happy, Jen and Rodney will let you out of the agreement. Why don't you give them a call right now and check out more details? 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. Jen and Rodney Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. 314-810-SOLD.
Mike Ferguson.
We the people.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
It's not rocket science. Rocket science.
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm? Get up! Get up! Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
You've heard of lobbying lawmakers. You could even say that campaigning to voters is kind of a lobbying as well. But what about lobbying judges and the judicial system? Is that just free speech? Is that something that could be considered sort of deep state-ish, to quote Vivek Ramaswamy? Well, when it comes to some environmental and other really hard left positions, there may be some very quiet lobbying that's happening, and you need to know about it. I'm Mike Ferguson. I am now joined by O.H. Skinner, and he's the executive director of the Alliance for Consumers. And this sounds very sort of cloak and dagger, and I know it's not really that way, O.H., but we're talking about what an education campaign, an actual lobbying group. This goes back to the Green New Deal that's being targeted towards the judiciary. How is this working? I mean, what are we dealing with?
I think cloak and dagger is a great way to describe it. So, one of the biggest things that the left is going with right now is this huge campaign to take away products that you want to buy and punish companies that don't toe the line on ESG, on woke things, on whatever they're pushing, right? You know that. And one of their biggest things is they're trying to go around and bankrupt anybody who they say has contributed to climate change. So they go and they sue a company and they say, you have to pay billions of dollars to fix climate change. Like, let that sink in. You fix climate change, which means like, might as well go jump off a bridge if you're an oil company. And in order to push those cases, they're running this scheme. This is the cloak and dagger, which is they're using the Environmental Law Institute's Climate Judiciary Project. Sounds so boring, right? But what they're doing is they're basically taking all sorts of people who are helping advance these cases, academics, activists, and they're building little training modules that are designed to tell the judges about how important climate change is, how important these cases are. The same people who are filing briefs in all these cases, who are pushing all these cases, and they're trying to affect these judges. And it's all a scheme and it's all underhanded because they're not being open with the judges, and they're trying to, influence the judges because if they can move a judge, if they can move this process, then they get a little closer to your point of getting a Green New Deal through the courtroom when it failed in Congress.
Okay, so is this a matter of, for instance, anybody can, file a friend of the court brief? I mean, you've got everybody from the First Liberty Institute to the, Federalist Society, the NRA. I mean, there's a lot of different groups that file these. Is there something different about the Climate Judiciary Project that is beyond just, hey, here's our legal argument, here's our opinion on something?
Yeah, see, and I used to file those briefs when I was the Solicitor General in Arizona. I understand them. What's different is this group holds itself out as being neutral, right? So if First Liberty comes in, if I came in for Arizona and wanted to talk to anybody, even a judge, about a case, let's say that was all within the rules, everyone would know who I was and what I was doing. What's tricky about this Climate Judiciary Project is they hold themselves out to the world, to Republican governors, to the federal court system as just, we're just a neutral educational group. They try to work with state universities. And what they're secretly doing is taking all of these activists, building training modules, and then laundering them. It's just laundering them through, right? And so if they were open about what they were, that would be an entirely different thing. And so the biggest thing we're trying to do is highlight to, we've written to governors, we're going to be writing to Congress and other people soon about this wolf comes as a wolf. This is not a set of honest brokers. No one should treat them as neutral people. No one should treat them as like the friendly bureaucrats. You and I don't think there are really friendly bureaucrats, but these are not friendly bureaucrats. This is a front. This is, the laundromat at the front, laundering the progressive ideas toward the judges, right? And I think at that basic level, when you can call this wolf out as a wolf, it changes the entire dynamic.
We are visiting with O.H. Skinner from the Alliance for Consumers, and we'll tell you how to get in touch with them here in just a couple of minutes. So from a legal perspective, then, let me back up a little bit before I want to go back into the content, O.H. Is this a matter that this is First Amendment protected speech, or is it the fact that they're accused of misrepresenting themselves, put them into any sort of ethical or legal gray area that needs to be looked into? Or is this just a matter of, hey, call them out, put the spotlight on, they're going to make their claim, that we're going to make their claim, but let everybody know who they are?
See, I'm more focused on the second one, which is I think the Federal Judicial Center should not be allowing these people to come in under the auspices of being a neutral, friendly voice, right? They would never let a hardcore conservative group come in and do judicial training. That's not what these, federal bureaucrats would do. So the federal bureaucrats should cut them off. And if you're in a conservative state, you should be asking your governor and your state university, if you're a student, asking your university if they are subsidizing this kind of a group, because this group traffics off of being neutral while laundering left-wing stuff. I actually totally believe that you should be able to say crazy things. And I actually like it when lefties say crazy things and tell people that they should live without air conditioning and all sorts of things, because it makes it easy for us to see who the enemy is, right? Especially from a consumer's perspective. So I think the biggest thing is they just shouldn't be treated as neutral when it comes to a conservative state or a conservative governor or a state university, because right now they are accomplishing their scheme by allowing left-wing dark money donors to funnel arguments through something that is currently accepted as neutral when it is not. And I think the minute you can pull that mask off, and the minute state universities can stop vouching for this group, all of a sudden everything gets a lot easier, right? Because then it's just a war of ideas.
So you mentioned universities here a couple of times. Are we talking about institutes and like think tanks and research centers? Or are we talking about law schools where law students are being taught this as part of the curriculum?
We're talking about law schools and universities who will potentially host judges and say, come to our big state university and we'll run a training for judges, right? This is a thing that is in all intents good, right? If you're going to do that, you should never be laundering this Environmental Law Institute Climate Judiciary Project in as being an okay group, right? And so that's the real thing is having, we wrote to conservative governors and said, cut it out, right? Like, make sure that your state universities, if they're going to be training judges, if they're going to be trying to benefit the public, are not pushing this group through and basically giving them credibility. Make them go out and do their work like any other progressive group. Don't make their jobs easier by vouching for them. And that's really one of the biggest fearful things, right? Because people think their state universities are honest brokers. Again, you and I might not, but a lot of people do.
Okay, so Alliance for Consumers. Tell me about that. Obviously, the Climate Judiciary Project is on your radar. What's your role in the discussion?
Right. So the Alliance for Consumers is just a group that I founded when I left the Arizona Attorney General's office, because I used to handle big consumer protection cases. And the one thing I noticed was that big companies do a bad job of fighting for consumers, especially now that people like Joe Biden, give them so many subsidies. And a lot of bureaucrats and politicians don't do a good job. So we care about cases like this because these climate public nuisance cases are trying to take away the cars you drive, the products on your store shelves. They're going after Coca-Cola because they make plastic bottles. These are the kinds of things that try to take away plastic straws, plastic bottles, the cars you drive, anything that you like and use. They're trying to get rid of it. They're trying to get rid of your air conditioners, So we're fighting against stuff like this because this is how they change your life without you noticing it.
All right. And we find out more about it online on social media. How?
AllianceForConsumers.org and For Consumers on Twitter.
Okay. Really appreciate that. All right. O.H. Skinner, Alliance for Consumers. Hopefully people will check you out and see what you're all about. Really appreciate you being on the program.
Have a good week, everybody.
All right. What do you think? 314-912-1019, Alliance for Consumers. I think it's the first time that we've had them on the program. Interesting, because I did not hear OH say anything about the other side shouldn't be allowed to speak or shouldn't be allowed to lobby. He just said, if you're going to do it, then you should be required to do it above board, and everybody should know who you are and what you're all about. What do you think? 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Don't try to make me stop. No inspiration. You have a soul so dark, it is no more. And all at once depart, no destination. Making cold my heart to fight your war. Stop it right now. I have had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop it right now.
The Roots and Boots Tour, 90s Electric Throwdown. With Sammy Kershaw.
That's my story.
Colin Ray.
Oh, that's my story.
And Aaron Tippett. Saturday, November 9th at the Family Arena.
But there ain't nothing wrong.
Reserve seats on sale now at the Carroll House Furniture Box Office, located at the Family Arena or at Ticketmaster. Roots and Boots Tour, 90s Electric Throwdown.
Legends of Country Rock with Pure Prairie League, Atlanta Rhythm Section, Richie Furay from Poco and Buffalo Springfield, and Firefall. Saturday, September 28th, the Family Arena. Tickets on sale now at the Carroll House box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster. Don't miss Legends of Country Rock live.
September is hopping in Mount Vernon, Illinois. Every weekend, enjoy festivals and events, including Market Day season finale, third Saturdays in Mount Vernon Flea Market and Vendor Fair, concerts at the Granada Theater, special events at C.E. Brem Memorial Library, Rev Up at Mount Vernon Fall Fest, Cedarhurst Ironclad Art Motorcycle Show, and so much more. Celebrate creativity redefined all month long in Mount Vernon, Illinois. Learn more at enjoymountvernon.com. Brought to you in part by Mount Vernon Tourism and Enjoy Illinois.
Hungry for the best steak you'll ever have? Head to the heart of Moscow Mills and discover Harry J's, a local landmark and family-owned steakhouse, serving up excellence since '98. From mouth-watering appetizers to decadent desserts, Harry J's has something for everyone. Enjoy our extensive bar selection while soaking in our friendly family atmosphere. Whether dine-in or carry-out, your meal is prepared to perfection. Make the drive to 300 Main Street and treat yourself to a taste of Moscow Mills' finest. Harry J's, more than a steakhouse. We're a tradition.
News Talk STL has your chance to win tickets to see Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly this Thursday night in Kansas City at the T-Mobile Center. Listen all day for your chance to win from News Talk STL.
Just like the white-winged dove sings a song, sounds like she's singing. Ooh.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
All right, debate day, people. I'm more curious than I am fired up about it. But here's the thing. If the candidates are smart, they're not marketing to people like us.
No, not at all.
Because we know the issues. We know who we like. We know who we don't like.
We've kind of been there and done that with a lot of this stuff at this point.
I encourage people, look at this through the lens of who's that person who's not dumb. They vote, but they check in late.
Yeah.
They're starting to check in now.
Yes.
And their feed on Twitter and Facebook, or X and Facebook and Instagram, that doesn't look anything like yours.
It does not.
So when you say, how could you not know? Because their news sources aren't like yours.
Well, and the propaganda machine is very strong.
Yeah.
I think we sometimes, because we are plugged in and we are aware, we sometimes forget how effective and how overwhelming the propaganda machine really, really is.
Yeah, exactly. All right, 8:19. Let's go around the states and the country and the world and dump some news on you here.
Successful dump. Wake up, America. It all worked out.
They got all the news.
The Morning News Dump.
All right. As of right now, is Amendment 3 going to be on the ballot or is it not going to be on the ballot? That is the question.
Up in the air.
That's right. The Secretary of State says no, it is not. But the state Supreme Court could decide otherwise today. Jay Ashcroft announced that he has decertified Amendment 3, the pro-abortion amendment, citing Friday's ruling by a circuit judge, which says in that ruling that the referendum is invalid because voters who signed the petition were not told of the laws that would be overturned if the amendment passes. The judge saying that is a part of Missouri law. You violated it. Therefore, you snooze, you lose. You do not get to have that on the ballot. But then, for lack of a better term, I don't know if he actually put a formal stay on his ruling, but he ordered that there would be no action until the appeals process played out. So there are questions as to whether or not Jay Ashcroft's decertification will hold muster in front of the state Supreme Court.
So many moving parts here.
Yeah, today is the deadline to certify or remove ballot questions for the November election. So today matters. The Supreme Court is likely to rule somehow before 5 p.m. Matter of fact, the hearing on Amendment 3 starts in just under 10 minutes in Jefferson City. They could uphold the ruling of Judge Limbaugh, and Amendment 3 would be just tossed off the ballot. They could also say, nope, you know what? This has to go through the appeals process and kick it to an appeals court, which would almost guarantee that it would run out the clock.
Mm-hmm.
Or they could simply rule and overturn or invalidate Judge Limbaugh's ruling and just put Amendment 3 on the ballot and just find a way to kind of backdoor it in. That's my guess as to what's going to happen.
They're going to try to.
I think they're going to try to
ram it through one way or the other.
That's my guess. I hope that I am wrong. I could very well be wrong. I am not a legal expert, but I've been covering politics and government in the courts in Missouri going back over 28 years. That's just my guess. So my recommendation, Gabe, is that people hope for the best, but assume we still have to fight to defend life and have to win people's hearts and minds over. Do not get deflated if the court's ruling goes a bad direction.
And really, we need to be prepared for that regardless. You know, just when Roe v. Wade fell, it's like the fight wasn't over.
It just started.
It had just started.
Yeah.
I mean, and we had been fighting the entire time. The fact that so many people potentially could vote for this if it does show up on the ballot is part of the fight. Part of the fight is getting back to where 70-80% of Americans understand what abortion is and are against it.
Yeah, precisely. All right, abortion's definitely going to come up in tonight's debate as well. Tulsi Gabbard, who's now part of Donald Trump's team, was asked on Jesse Waters Primetime on Fox whether or not Kamala Harris is a threat to win or hold her own in this debate tonight. And she says, hey, guys, don't discount her.
She's not to be underestimated because she is talented on a debate stage. There's no question about that. But she's going to have a tough time trying to defend this record that, quite frankly, from the view of the American people, is indefensible.
And that debate is going to be live on News Talk STL right here, 101.9, 94.1. And you can hear that starting at 8 p.m. God knows what's going to happen.
And if you've got our app, you can listen to it everywhere.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right. So today is the day that the families of the Freedom 13, including the family of Jared Schmitz, are being honored in Washington, D.C. with the Congressional Gold Medal. And of course, related to that entire debacle of the Afghanistan withdrawal, Republicans releasing a report saying President Biden is responsible for that Afghanistan withdrawal. White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby was asked if anybody has faced accountability for that failure. And he says, well, the whole administration is holding itself accountable.
Not everything went according to plan. Nothing ever does. And we mourn the loss of those 13 lives at Abbey Gate every single day here. Their sacrifice is not forgotten.
Okay, so Kirby went on to say that President Biden made a choice to go with what he called a flawed deal that was cut between former President Donald Trump and the Taliban.
And here's where I roll my eyes.
To evacuate U.S. troops by May of 2021. while also buying some time through the summer of that year. 13 U.S. service members, including Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz, were killed by a suicide bomber just outside of the Kabul airport.
Why am I a bit skeptical when he says, "Oh, we think about them every single day"?
Yeah, because nobody with more than 2 or 3 brain cells to rub together actually believes it.
I don't at all.
And guaranteed, a lot of those Gold Star families don't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly. So they're being honored today, which, I'm very happy that they are.
Mm-hmm.
And there'll probably be some sound bites tomorrow on that as well. Okay. So in the Middle East, speaking of the Middle East, as the war between Israel and Hamas continues, Senator Joni Ernst, Republican out of Iowa, you probably knew that, shares her experience with her recent visit to Israel. And she was on Fox's Your World with Neil Cavuto. And she says leaders in the region there basically just giving up on U.S. Being supportive.
They continually have asked in the past, where is American leadership? Now they're simply saying, we have given up on you and we need to do better.
Israeli officials say they believe at least 64 hostages held by Hamas are still alive right now.
My gosh. That whole situation it's heartbreaking. And the fact that our administration is so lax in their support is also heartbreaking.
Yeah, it really is. All right, lawmakers back to work in Washington, D.C. and Congress. So if you were thinking, wait a minute, why does it feel like somebody's yanking on my wallet? That's why. Their summer recess is over.
Little ghost hand in my pocket.
That's right. You're like, that didn't feel as good as I thought it should. No, because they're grabbing my wallet.
Yeah.
Here comes another CR at the end of the month.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what's up for a vote here, because if they don't get that continuing resolution, then the government shuts down, and they keep teasing me with this. But they don't have the guts to do it. Senate Majority Leader Chucky Schumer was tearing into Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson, saying his decision to tie that continuing resolution to keep the government open to a bill requiring proof of citizenship when registering to vote. Well, that's just bad.
It's a shame that the House of Representatives is once again wasting time catering to the hard right, instead of doing the hard work of responsible bipartisan governance. Speaker Johnson's slapdash continuing resolution isn't a serious effort to fund our government.
So saying that you have to show proof of citizenship to vote is catering to the hard right.
Yeah, it's not serious. Apparently, the hard right is the only faction in America that actually cares about voting integrity.
Yeah. So now, if he'd come out and said elections are run by the states in this country, then you would say, all right, let's have the debate. That's an interesting point.
Sure.
But he comes out and goes, this is for the hard right.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, what's for the hard right? You have to prove that you're a citizen to vote in federal elections.
Yeah, I feel a great disturbance in the force, as if millions of voters cried out in terror and then were silenced.
Speaking of that,
yes,
very sad news. And I saw this yesterday afternoon when the news broke, and it was one of the very rare times that an entertainment news story struck a chord with me. I mean, I literally went, Rachel, you're not going to believe this. Yeah, he had one of the greatest, most distinctive voices in entertainment, and he also played some of the most iconic roles in movies over the past 60 years, starting in 1964.
Man, ages ago.
1964. James Earl Jones died Monday at the age of 93. And it's interesting how we always get this news. We're like, no, they're not supposed to ever die. He was 93.
Yeah. I mean, it's not sudden. I mean, let's put it that way. It wasn't sudden.
Well, and here's the thing is very, very few entertainers truly become a part of the fabric of our history and culture.
Yeah.
Most of the time, there are entertainers who have influences at different times.
Kind of come and go.
They kind of are a soundtrack or an image of an era or something like that. And you can go to every era and attach some pop culture reference to it. James Earl Jones was just a constant and really had a very massive presence in so much of our vernacular, so much of our not just our entertainment, but what he portrayed really worked its way into not just pop culture, but culture.
Boy, to think 1964 was when it all began. I was a mere 12 back then.
Oh, wow.
And it was the Cardinals and Yankees in the World Series. I'm sorry, what were we going to say there?
I was going to say a young lad.
Yeah,
Young
yeah.
lad, yes.
Just a young tyke. And gosh, it was Yankees Cardinals.
Yeah. 314-912-1019. What's your favorite James Earl Jones character or role or movie? Let's compare notes at 8:35. Speaking of the Cardinals, Cardinals start a 3-game home series with the Reds this evening. First pitch happens at 6:45 at Busch Stadium. Here's where we are. 19 games left in the regular season. They are 1 game above 500 right now. When it comes to the wild card race, they are 6.5 games back, and I think there are 2 or 3 teams ahead of at least 2, maybe 3 teams.
In the wild card?
Wild card, yeah.
3.
Braves, Cubs, and
Mets
are all ahead of them. So unlikely. They could make up the 6.5 games, but they would have to make it up better than the other teams make it up. And they are 10 games back in the National League Central. It just ain't happening with 19 games left. So the Cardinals have 19 games left, and then they get the offseason to go back to their room and think about what they've done in 2024. 314-912-1019. Hey, who do we congratulate who's going to go see Tucker Carlson?
Ben McGuire is our winner. He was caller 10.
Ben, congratulations,
Ben
man. We are sending you those tickets. You get to go see Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly in Kansas City on Thursday. Thanks for being a part of News Talk STL.
Happy road tripping.
Mm-hmm.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Just like the white ring does, sing songs and like she's singing. Ooh, baby, ooh, ooh.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Late summer heat makes a comeback today after another very nice start. Up to 87 this afternoon under a mainly sunny sky. But that sky still has kind of a milky white appearance at times as wildfire smoke drifts overhead from the western U.S. and Canada. Clear tonight, 61 for the Wednesday morning low in St. Louis. Tomorrow, the hottest day of the week, up to 91 Wednesday afternoon. Still on track for some needed rainfall Thursday night into Friday. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Fox News commentary.
New York City is handing out thousands of dollars to entice migrants out of city shelters, and it's still not enough. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Hey, Donald Trump Jr. here. Biden is dead set to fulfill his agenda before leaving office. Translation, more money printing and soaring inflation. Is gold the answer to protect your savings and retirement? To find out, get a free info kit from Birch Gold Group by texting the word SHELTER to 989-898. Don't let inflation wreck your IRA or 401k. Act now to secure your future. Text SHELTER to the number 989-898 for your free info kit from Birch Gold. Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
A sanctuary city will cost you, and New York City is finding it out the hard way. City shelters are full of migrants, and now city leaders are getting desperate. The city's Department of Homeless Services has already handed out $4,000 to 150 migrant families to entice them out of city shelters and into permanent housing, which I'd assume the taxpayers will also subsidize. But not only are they being given this $4,000 grant, eligible migrant families can also get up to $1,000 additional dollars in gift cards for household necessities and moving expenses. What happens when that money runs out? Even if Joe and Kamala shut down our borders entirely right this very second, American cities would still drown under the weight of the millions already let in. Even if millions of migrants are just here for a better life and don't commit crimes, they will still, best case scenario, cities and eventually our entire nation. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
Hey, Columbo here for the great team at All Solutions Pest Control. We've been using pest control services at our home for years, and the results we've had with All Solutions are second to none. So if you're experiencing a pest problem, or more importantly, want to prevent a problem, All Solutions Pest Control are the ones to call. Right now, you can take advantage of their incredible $67 introductory offer. Learn more and contact them now at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Tim Jones here with Dr. Pat Fader of Comprehensive Chiropractic. Doc, I hear you all have a new treatment program for everyone's chronic knee pain.
Tim, that's right. We are helping patients with chronic knee pain by addressing the root cause of their condition.
And what makes your program so unique?
Well, Tim, many programs focus on just one component of the problem, the structural component. Our program focuses on the metabolic and neurological component to complete the picture and improve our patients' outcomes. We get to the root cause of what is driving inflammation in a person's body and address it directly.
For your chronic knee pain and more, visit cchiropractic.com. All information, make an appointment at cchiropractic.com.
My friend, death is certain. Are you prepared? Larry Connors here. I don't want to scare you, but your funeral plans are an important conversation you need to have with your spouse, family, other loved ones. My friend Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial can help find you an affordable, final expense life insurance policy, regardless of your health condition. You could qualify up to $30,000 of lifetime coverage. Life insurance plans with Senior Memorial also offer living benefits towards hearing and diabetic supplies, access to a 24-hour teledoc service, discounts on urns, caskets, tombstones. Call my friend Benjamin at Senior Memorial and discover your legacy at 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
This is News Talk STL. News, analysis, and opinion from the voices you know and trust. News Talk STL at 1019, 941, and newstalkstl.com.
Hey there, Tim Jones here. Make sure you join me and my buddy Chris Arps this afternoon from 4 until 6 p.m. right here on 1019, 94.1 News Talk STL. Right now, let's get back to more of Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Get a lot of people commenting on their favorite James Earl Jones movies.
Mm-hmm.
314-912-1019.
There's just so many.
And different scenes even.
Oh gosh, yeah. There's some scenes. I don't know if you were watching and while you were playing the clip mic of all the James Earl Jones lines,
yeah,
you might have seen me moving my mouth
because you knew them.
Because I knew the lines so well.
Okay, so how about this on Rumble in the chat box, for instance? Lunch Lady says all she said in this particular post was when he walks into the corn laughing.
Oh
yes, indeed.
Yeah, that scene.
Yeah. In case you haven't heard, and I suspect that you have. James Earl Jones died yesterday at the age of 93.
Mm-hmm.
And you all know what I think of celebrity news and Hollywood news. I can't stand it. I
like you hate it with a passion.
I really, really do. But
rages like 1,000 suns.
Occasionally somebody is bigger than just the Hollywood nonsense.
Yeah.
And there was something about James Earl Jones's, just presence and career that he was so good at his craft that he worked his way into our culture, not just pop culture.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I mean, even beyond his performances and how iconic his voice has become in that everybody hears these lines in his voice. He didn't really get involved in the Hollywood nonsense, did he? I don't remember, much in the way of him talking about it, coming out and against half of the country or saying something, particularly arrogant or gross, or I haven't heard any reports of him having been, I met him and he's actually really a terrible guy. I've never heard any of that stuff.
I mean, I think he made some, statements supporting like the different Hollywood unions when they were on strike a time or two, but whatever.
That's standard.
That's just
if you're part of the union, you talk about the
in the private sector. I mean, whatever. I mean, Reagan was the president of the union, for crying out loud.
Right.
Yeah. So, which you can learn more about in Reagan the movie. Anyway, so on Saturday,
I see this.
If you win, by the way, we're going to email all the winners today, and you're going to have your tickets. You're going to need that. You're going to need that with you. So, but it's funny because earlier today we're comparing before the show started, and I said, but there was this commercial series. For I couldn't remember which phone service it was. It turns out it was
Sprint. Yeah.
And he was on a stage just with him, and who else was it?
It was Malcolm McDowell.
Okay, so incredibly qualified, educated, trained actors in tuxedos on a stage,
distinctive voices and everything. Yeah,
reading teenagers' tweets.
It's so funny.
And social media posts for this commercial. You've got a couple.
I got a couple, and while there are obviously lesser roles that James Earl Jones took that kind of impacted us, that was one of them for me as well.
That was so funny.
But here's a couple of them. Oop. I should probably unmute my computer.
Well, it helps.
Yeah, just so everybody understands what's going on here.
There we
go. I'm thinking about you.
I'm thinking about you too.
What are you thinking about me?
I'm just thinking about you.
Yes, but what about me exactly?
Have to run to a meeting. Talk later.
Hey, I'm still thinking about you. Ryan is a total hottie McHotterson.
It's my favorite one.
Harvey, he's amazeballs. He's like the hottest hottie that ever hottied.
He's like a hottie times infinity plus another infinity. And his smile is totes adorbs.
Totes my goats. It's cray adorbs.
Totes my goats.
Totes my goats. And the thing is, they're so serious about it. Their delivery is just so on point. I love that commercial series. I wish they had brought more of them before his passing. But
and those were a while back. Those were still so funny.
Ages ago.
All right. Favorite. It's tough for me to say a favorite James Earl Jones
like specifically
movie because there were so many I enjoyed. But what was it that jumped in? You said you had one that kind of jumped into your mind.
The one main one for me is Field of Dreams.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And that's the one I always focus on. But you're right. There were so many other great movies. And just to divert for a second, Buck's mom on Rumble pointed one thing out, and this is before the ideological stuff happened. But what about This Is CNN?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, he was the original voice of the what we call imaging in the broadcasting business. He was the imaging voice of CNN. That's
I forgot about that.
That's back when the original Bernard Shaw was the main anchor back then, and
man,
that was based out of Atlanta and Ted Turner's
Turner
Upstart.
days. Right.
And so that was one of actually the fact that it was James Earl Jones's voice.
That was a big deal at the time.
That was like that helped CNN. Like, oh wow, they got James Earl Jones to do that. So this must be something.
Oh man, yeah, just and that's kind of the lesser stuff. I mean, it's like he became part of our understanding of things. If I just said out of nowhere, this is CNN, immediately you're thinking about the commercial series where his voice would follow.
Right.
If somebody says, I am your father, you immediately hear his voice. Everything the light touches. That's James Earl Jones's voice right there. And it spans generations. A 7-year-old will recognize James Earl Jones's voice just as much as a 90-year-old.
That's true. People will come, Ray.
Yep, that's
People
right.
will come.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to decide. There's one. Let's see here. There was one. Here we go. Okay. Oh, here's a couple other clips.
I'm King Joffrey Joffer, ruler of Zamunda.
Yeah, well, have a seat. Chair number 2 be ready in a second.
People will come, Ray.
They'll come to Iowa for reasons they can't even fathom. They'll turn up your driveway, not knowing for sure why they're doing it. They'll arrive at your door as innocent as children, longing for the past. Of course, we won't mind if you look around, you'll say. It's only $20 per person. They'll pass over the money without even thinking about it. For it is money they have and peace they like.
Man. Yeah, allergies.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough to listen to. It's tough to listen to that now.
Yeah. I mean, again, that there still is an entire industry in that town, literally in Iowa, because of the performance because of that movie, in huge part because of James Earl Jones playing Terrence Mann was the character's name in that particular movie.
Dyersville, Iowa.
It's so interesting too. I mean, because obviously there was Great White Hope where he was the lead, right? And that was his big breakout role.
Yeah.
He kind of took Hollywood by storm with that movie, I think, in many cases. But most of his movie appearances that have become so iconic and so huge, and the ones that are super memorable, he's not the main character.
Right.
You know, and it's just very fascinating to me that somehow this guy, if any movie that he's in, he almost overshadows the entire other members of the cast. Even if
even Kevin Costner,
he's only on screen for like 5 minutes in some of these movies, and that's the part we
or
remember.
the co-star who made the star better.
Yes, that's true.
You know, Kevin Costner is an excellent actor.
Absolutely.
But would Kevin Costner have been great in that movie without if somebody else were doing Terrence Mann?
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point. He brought out. I imagine. And this is just me making it up in my brain, I guess. But I imagine that he brought out the best in all of the stars around him.
Yeah.
That him on set was a major asset.
Ed on Rumble says James had that rare talent to make you believe he was every character he played.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And we just got a question. Was he the voice of Mufasa in The Lion King?
Yes.
He was. Matter of fact, I can.
Yeah, one of your clips included.
I've got one of those clips here. It is. Here's a couple more clips of him.
She must have hidden the plans in the escape pod. Send a detachment down to retrieve them. See to it personally, Commander. There'll be no one to stop us this time.
Yes, sir. Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father.
He told me enough. He told me you killed him.
No. I am your father. So, you have accepted the truth.
I've accepted the truth that you were once Anakin Skywalker, my father.
That name no longer has any meaning for me.
Here we go.
Look inside yourself, Simba. You are more than what you have become. You must take your place in the circle of life.
How can I go back? I'm not who I used to be.
Remember who you are.
Now, see, normally I look at actors and musicians and whatnot. I'm like, you're today's court jesters.
Yeah.
You get paid to amuse me.
Yes.
Now amuse me.
Dance monkey.
Pretty much. Yeah. It's so rare that some of the others, just those very few kind of distinguish themselves. And I think distinguished is a good word because he also always had that just air of classy.
Oh my gosh, so much class in that man.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It's like, were you born in a tuxedo?
It feels like it on some level. Now, another one of his roles, which was on stage, where he played in Fences, right?
Well, that was one. There was also
one of them.
There was also Driving Miss Daisy.
And Driving Miss Daisy. Yes, exactly. So those two performances were really big deal. I actually played in a sort of local showing of Fences.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was Corey. I was the son. I was getting yelled at by the James Earl Jones character. Yeah, so that man, and watching him perform in his version, I was like, okay, we're not doing that.
No.
Like I looked around to the cast, that we were all kind of watching it, just kind of getting a feel for it. I'm like, okay, we can't do that, but we can. So amazing.
Oh my goodness. All right, 314-912-1019. Got a favorite? Got a suggestion for a James Earl Jones movie people just have to watch? Because that's going to be happening today and tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
And the day after.
Yeah, got to find some.
Yeah. All right. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote quality Christ-centered K-12 education nationwide.
Hi, this is Chris Stegall with the Herzog Foundation. We offer a wide variety of resources relevant to today's families, including a free online publication called The Lion. The lion is one of God's most majestic creatures, symbolizing strength and courage. Named for its attributes, the Lion publication carries articles covering a wide range of topics facing American families and culture, especially related to the education of children. The Lion can be found online at readlion.com. That's READ lion.com.
Sign up for The Lion at readlion.com and find dozens of must-read articles published every day. Visit readlion.com and subscribe for the weekly and daily digests so you never miss an article. Readlion.com. That's readlion.com.
Hey, it's Vic. Are you worried about rising taxes? Well, you're not alone. With government spending outpacing revenue, many Americans fear a tax hike is on the horizon. But here's the good news. You have options. Chris Cooper of Serenity Wealth Management specializes in tax-efficient strategies for income planning, legacy, and growth. Chris knows your money will go to one of three places: the government, healthcare, or your family and charities. Shouldn't your loved ones come first? Don't let Uncle Sam be your biggest beneficiary. Take control of your financial future today. Visit serenitynowtax.com for your free copy of Chris's book, The New Holistic Retirement. Serenity Wealth Management, because you deserve peace of mind in retirement. Request your free book today at serenitynowtax.com. That's serenitynowtax.com to get your free copy of The New Holistic Retirement. That's serenitynowtax.com. Serenity Now with Chris Cooper.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
We are now even closer to the November election, and yet a lot can still happen. Are you going to be ready?
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Dan Bongino here. Keep it on News Talk STL because my show starts at 11 a.m. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
What's the matter with the clothes I'm wearing? Can't you tell that your tie's too wide?
Oh, speaking of another concert coming to St. Louis this month.
That's right, with Sting, Billy Joel and Sting.
Rachel is taking one of her boys.
Oh,
who,
great.
She's got, well, I say teenagers. They're both adults, but they're teenage adults. And the younger one is like all about 80s music. And so I want to say this was a birthday or Christmas. It was a present to him. That, so she's literally going to fly back in from wherever she's going to be
Timbuktu
that weekend. She's always on the road. And then fly in and pick him up. And
Albuquerque.
So pray for no flight delays that day.
Oh, yeah.
Her getting him to the concert.
Tight schedule.
Depends on her getting to St. Louis in time. So, yeah. So that's the end of the month there. So Billy Joel. All right, 8:50, going on 8:51 right now. Let's just kind of get real with the debate here that's coming up here.
All right.
Okay.
If we have to.
Yeah. So the reality is that if you're MAGA, if you're on the hard left with with Harris Walls, you made up your mind, and the way that you're watching this debate is you are looking for the knockout punch or the gotcha moment. You know, you're looking for that where you can basically go to social media and say, see, that side sucks. My side's right. And there's really nothing that's going to happen that's going to even tempt you to change your mind on anything. I think that's fair to say, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, let's say that you're that you're a Trump supporter, okay, which I suspect most people listening are. If Donald Trump has a stroke and Kamala Harris wipes the floor with him, no, I don't think that's going to happen, obviously.
Right.
But there's nothing that's going to happen where you're going to go, boy, she put a good performance on. Maybe she should be president of the United States. Ain't going to happen.
No, I mean, look, even if her performance is better than I expect, it's still not as like, oh, you know what? I didn't realize she wanted no taxes on tips. Hey, she got my vote. No, that's not going to happen.
You know, and even if you say, well, she actually performed, she performed very well. Maybe I should vote for her, instead of saying, yeah, her policies still suck. And she's basically beyond socialist, knocking on the door of communist at this point.
Right.
So we're not, this debate is not for us.
Right.
Now, I think there's a lot of reasons to listen to it, and we're going to carry it right here from 8 to 9:30 or whatever the thing goes.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of reasons to watch or listen to it. You know, because I do think that you see what we're up against, because when you hear these horrible proposals, if she tries to make an argument for high taxes on unrealized gains, which sounds very wonky,
or even regular gains,
yes,
increases, yes.
So she makes the case for that. We need to be equipped to talk to our friends and neighbors and family and go, you know what that actually means, right? Because that leads me, Gabe, to where we're talking about is that this debate, whoever quote unquote wins or loses, it's all about those relatively few people who have not made up their mind yet.
Yeah.
Because they're just now the very first versions of that, the very first wave of those people are now starting to engage. And it's hard for so many of us to think that there are people who really don't know what's going on in the political world. because they go out of their way to just simply fill their life with their life.
Yes.
With the stuff with their kids and their kids' school and their church and their whatever club and whatever fraternal association, whatever. And people fill their lives with other things.
Yes.
And frankly, a lot of us should have some of those other things in our lives too.
It's all about balance.
Right. And there are people who are just now like, we got an election come up. I need to be a good citizen and vote. Let me check out. I know everybody's like fired up about this, and they may have some inkling. It's not like they've never heard of the candidate.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Like
I mean, their social media feed has had information over this entire time.
Because you can't get away from it.
No.
Social media will beat you over the head with the stuff.
About the head and shoulders.
That's right. And so, but they're really starting to pay attention now. This may be the only debate between these two.
Yes.
If this goes the way I think a lot of us think it's going to go, with Donald Trump probably basically in control, and probably, I'm not going to say run the table, but probably having a better debate.
Yes.
That's honestly what I expect to happen.
He's probably going to have a better debate.
Those people who see that for the first time are the ones who are going to be making up their minds. Look or listen to the debate from that perspective, not because I think you're going to change your mind, but because when you talk to the people who are like, I'm not really sure I'm going to vote yet, see it or hear it the way that they hear it, and you'll be able to have those conversations in a more effective way.
And even listen to it from the perspective of somebody who hasn't heard Donald Trump very much. They've heard about him, but they haven't heard him.
Right.
And try to think how they would take what he's saying. Would they catch the context of because sometimes he makes contextual jokes based on things that he's talked about in his rallies.
Right.
That he, because most of the people then would be able to connect it, and they'd be like, oh yeah, I see what you're saying. But sometimes these things without context sound weird. These things without context, it's like, what are you saying? And that's the manipulation that often happens in the media, the propaganda arm of the Democratic Party, where they'll take something out of context, or they'll reframe the context to make it the most horrific thing ever. And you got to remember also that these people, their primary information source has been, up until this point, social media, and the propaganda that has come through filters social media.
Yeah. All right. So 8:00 tonight, we've got the debate right here. Of course, we're going to break down what happened, get your take on that tomorrow morning as well. And we're going to know what happened with Amendment 3. Sometime before 5:00 today, the Missouri Supreme Court is going to make some kind of decision. I honestly don't know which direction they're going to go with it. I have a guess. I think they're going to keep Amendment 3 as is on the ballot. But as it stands right now, there is a chance that we could at least put this off for a couple of years and give ourselves the chance.
I'd love to be on a fly on the wall of that deliberation room.
Yeah,
I really would.
Right. So the hearing started about 25 minutes ago.
Man.
So they're arguing it right now in the Missouri Supreme Court.
Yeah.
So this is a big day because if this goes on the ballot, those of us who are pro-life, those of us who care about humanity and human beings, we're up against we're basically, the odds are against us. We can win, but the odds are against us. But if by chance the other side's mistakes catch up to them and we get a couple years reprieve on this, that'll be a big, big, big blessing and answer to prayer for a lot of us.
Wake me when the show starts.
It's already been on a while.
Wake me when it's over.
Delicious pizza in town? Head to Monocle's on Highway K in the heart of O'Fallon. From thin crust to pan pizza, gluten-free options, and every topping imaginable. Monocle's, as you covered. Indulge in mouth-watering calzones, party-sized salads, and our famous sweet and tart dressing. Family-owned and locally operated, Monocle's serves up love and care with every bite. Dine in or carry out, and don't forget to try our banana-licious monkey bread for dessert. Order online at monocles.com or stop in today and tell them News Talk STL sent you.
Hi, Susie Moore here. American culture is at a crossroads. My friend and coworker at Red State, Kira Davis, has written a new book called Drawing Lines: Why Conservatives Must Begin to Battle Fiercely in the Arena of Ideas. She challenges conservative Americans to stop retreating from culture and helps you to think critically through the pressing cultural issues of our day and offers practical advice and solutions. It's time for conservatives to make themselves uncomfortable and get engaged, get inspired, get moving, and get winning. Pick up a copy of Kira's new book, Drawing Lines, available at Amazon, faithfultexts.com, or wherever books are sold.
Attention St. Louis. The Republican Central Committee invites you to the annual Lincoln Reagan Days dinner. Join us Saturday, October 5th at the River City Casino for an evening of inspiration and insight with this year's special keynote speaker, J.J. Carell, retired U.S. Border Patrol, who served under Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump, and Biden. Don't miss this opportunity to hear from a true expert in border security. For details and tickets, visit newstalkstl.com.
I've got a way for you to really dress up your home, and only one guy I'd trust to do it. Michael Proctor, like doctor. Michael will personally examine which drapes, blinds, or shutters will complement your home. He doesn't just measure, he designs, and to make sure it's done right, he will install them. All this saves you money on custom-made drapes, shades, and shutters. Proctor, spelled like doctor. ProctorDrapery.com. ProctorDrapery.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Paul.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Tonight could prove a pivotal night in the race for the White House. Donald Trump and Kamala Harris will meet for their first and possibly their only debate. Our White House correspondent Greg Clugston in